the Maroon communities. Without any further ado, let me introduce Dr. Runoko Rashidi. How you doing, Doc?
I'm good, Empress. How are you? No, you look beautiful. So much happening in the world. So anyway, it's nice to be back. This time I really want to take the full hour, and it's going to be visual. So let's start it. Uh-oh. Let's begin here. Now, the last time we talked about the African presence in ancient America. We're talking about the role of Africa in classical Mesoamerican civilization. And we spent a lot of time talking about the Olmec. So this is part two, as you indicated. We are really going to look at the African presence in what I'm calling the colonial period of Latin America. And of course, a lot of that will enable us to look at the history of resistance. And then finally, we'll finish it up next month, God willing, with a look at African people in many of the Latin American countries. So important to start off with. I had a lot of photographs to show you. Our history did not begin in chains and will not end in chains. That's why I wanted to start last week with where we were. So today, the first thing I want to do is the homage to our Native American sisters and brothers. I want to pay tribute to them and salute them for endured this period and even now. This is a photograph that I found about, 3 or 4 years ago.
Thank you, everyone that is joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and we really appreciate your support on this program this hour. I appreciate every one of you joining us. I can see you there. It's going to be a beautiful evening here.
So this is a part of the history that we're looking at, that the enslaved African is brought into. And then here's another one. This man is being scourged, and so I salute the Native Americans who endured this and who survived it. Now, I'm going to look at things from an African perspective to the best of my ability. And I have to say from the beginning that I'm not an expert at this at all, but it's very, very important. And I think I do with you that will be of value. And so this just takes off just where we left. You have the Native American being scourged, and then you have the enslaved African brought in. So the Americas as we know it are built largely on the land of Native Americans and the labor and blood of African Americans. Okay. So these are the scenes that we see from early enslaved days. A lot of us are familiar with this. It never gets easier. Here you have an African being branded with a hot iron like an animal. And then this shows us, and these images I've taken from museums in Peru and Mexico and also Cuba. And this part is probably in Africa itself. Most of the Africans who died as a result of enslavement, as I understand it, Africa, from the time they were captured and brought to the coastal dungeons, where they were then put on those slave ships.
Greetings to everyone all over the world. Welcome to the African Portal Radio TV International. It's coming live from Pretoria here in South Africa. It is a beautiful, lovely time. I have a lot of people joining us on this broadcast. With respect to the great African icon, author, historian, one of the great people that we respect so much in the world, also in Africa, Dr. Runoko. This is a tribute to this great man. In the video that I'm playing before this program, he's giving the tribute to all the leaders that have passed on in Africa. But today, we are standing here giving a tribute to the great African icon that have done so well for Africa. And is an historian, is a author. I have opportunity last month to have an engagement with him on the African Portal Radio, where we have a lot of discussion. I'm going to play that as well before the end of this program. And I have a lot of people joining us. I have Professor joining us all the way from Brazil, is on the African Portal, and as well I have Dr. Bababuntu with me in Johannesburg, live from the African Portal Radio TV International. For those of you that are stepping in, please kindly share this program. Let it go viral. We really appreciate your comment as well, because your comment is the petrol that this show needs to move forward. So please keep sending those comments. Show your love to the great African icon. Show your love to one of the people that have lived their life to make sure that they change the face of who we are as Black and as Africa. So please kindly join me to welcome the great African icon as well, Dr. Babuntu. As we are going to start this program in style, please kindly join us. Let's do it together. It's going to be a lovely and beautiful time. Dr. Babuntu, kindly unmute yourself. A lot of people would like to hear from you, from your side there. Thank you very much, Babuntu, all the way from Johannesburg. How are you today, sir?
A very good evening to you, brother. Thank you so much for the platform that you keep so consistently setting up for our empowerment. So it is sad that we have to have this conversation, but I want us to actually have it on a note of being joyful that we actually in our midst have had the opportunity to have an incredible scholar who has paved the way for African knowledge, for deep study of African history through African eyes. It is very significant that we look at our history through our eyes and our experience. And I see that Baba Runoko Rashidi, as his full name is now described as, he has passed on, he's described it as an American history. I completely disagree. He's not an American historian. He's an African historian, and he's an African contributor that gave his life to all of us because he wanted every African woman, child, and man to be able to stand in front of the world and to say, I have history. I come from somewhere. I represent something. I'm somebody. And Rashidi's spirit, we bless the opportunity that we have had to be so much enriched by his teachings, by his travels, by his scholarship, by his deep studies. And this is why I'm saying we should be joyful, because he has left a huge wealth of documentation behind. We don't have to be lost anymore. We don't have to ask too many questions anymore. He has paved the way, and he did it through his sweat, through his blood, through his dedication to us as a people. So I want us to, although I'm sad, although I miss him, although I can't really believe that I'm not going to see him again, but at the same time, I want us to be joyful and thankful for the incredible inspiration that he has given us, and also the challenge that he gives us. In what way are we following in his footsteps? That's what I would like to. But thank you so much for bringing me in on the show. We are here from Ebukusini Solutions in Johannesburg, and I'm also here with one of the sons of Ebukusini, Taton Togozo Mashiani. If you allow, sir, maybe he can also just do a quick introduction of himself.
Indeed, sir. Go ahead and do that, sir.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings. My name is Taton Togozo Mashiani. Mashiani, umkandla kaSokhabo, umkandla kaNdabane, Ashe. That is who I am. I'm the son of Ebukusini, and yes, I am passionate about Pan-Africanism and learning about my people and how beautiful we are as Black people. I did not know about Baba Runoko Rashidi. Unfortunately, I only knew about him last week. But when I heard of the work that he has done and everything that he has done for our people, I am in awe, because it makes me realize the level of work that we have to do as young people to teach and to acknowledge our history and who we are as Black people, because we're beautiful, we're strong, we're wise, we are gods, you know. So give thanks, Ashe.
Thank you so much. And Brother Ulushan, just so you know, Ntokozo has a poem for us that you can just call on when you feel it's relevant to bring it in. So thank you so much.
Okay, I think we should start with that. Let's quickly start with that. Let's start with that poem, because it's a tribute night for the great African icon, is African historian, and he lived his life to make sure that he's told the story of Africa the way it is. You know, in the time past, people tell the story of Africa the way they want. They call us whatever the name they want to call us. That they explain to people what we are not. But today we have the great icon that stood the ground and tell the story the way it is. And we are using this night to celebrate this great African icon, late Dr. Rashidi Runoko. We celebrate your being and we celebrate your personality. We celebrate the contribution you make to the great African continent. We celebrate for being the voice. Even though you are not here anymore, you join the ancestors, make sure that you look after us and to make sure that you give us the strength to continue as a black, as an African continent all over the world. In the dark nation, people call it dark nation because they don't know what it is, that we are the sunshine. We are not the dark nation, we are the where the sun coming from. And that is why we put it upon ourselves to celebrate you tonight, late Dr. Rashid Runoko. We have so much pain in our hearts that you've gone not too early, but the time we need you most, but we celebrate your charisma. I appreciate all you do for the black race. Thank you for all you do to the black race. Let me give time to my brother from Ebukuseni Solution in Johannesburg to quickly give us a beautiful poem to celebrate.
Give thanks, my king. Yeah, it's a short poem. I call it Dusty Roads. So it goes: as I walk on dusty roads that lay out the labyrinth, which is home, the feeling of being lost begins to create a black hole inside my core, sucking everything that tells me I belong to a people who are beautiful, wise, and strong. Africans. How did it come to be that we feel so lost in the land of the free? But I know that it shall not last for eternity, because we are not Africans based on where we choose to be. We are Africans because Africa is inside of you and me. Give thanks.
Africa is inside you and him and me. So that remind me the quote that I said, that is, we are not Africa because we are born in Africa. We are Africa because Africa is born in us. So it's inborn, and we celebrate this great African icon. At the same time on this program, we'll be joining some of our great African citizens in Brazil. I will be having a lot of people that will be joining us on this program, as we have another program as well that is also incorporated with this program tonight, that will be hosting many of our great African icon from Brazil. So kindly be part of this conversation, share it, let it go viral. But before that, let me bring Baba, Dr. Baba Buntu back. Let me call it is Dr. Baba Buntu Olubanjo. Let me give him opportunity to also tell us a bit about where we are now as Africa and the button that the Dr. Rashidi Runoko passed on to us. What is the way forward?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brother Lushan. I think what is so significant for me, for us to remember on a day like this, when we want to give tribute to a true son of the soil, Dr. Runoko Rashidi, is to really understand the legacy that he has lived and left behind. He was able to visit 124 countries, and everywhere he went, he was looking particularly for the roots and the stories and the descent of African people. He went to places, I mean, obviously he traveled around the African continent and also to the diaspora, where we know where we've always known that there are African people, but he also traveled to places like Philippines, China, India, places that many people are not aware that there are sizable African populations that did not arrive just a few years ago, but have been there for a very, 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 very long time. So long that they don't remember how their journey took them there. He authored 22 books, and he was also very inspired by another author that I used to be quite inspired by called J.A. Rogers, who's an African-Jamaican author who also traveled, especially to Europe and America, and really documented the story of African people that others tried to hide. They tried to erase the history, and he was really discovering a lot of history. And it was in that spirit that Runoko Rashidi, as a young man, grew up, and he realized that what we have history, what my history, and in his experience as an African American, he was astounded to find out that his history was not enslavement. His history was not that he was brought from somewhere to America. His history went far beyond that, and he made a commitment that he was going to be a scriber of that history. I wanted to just share two quick quotes from Dr. Rashidi. One is this: when I talk about freeing the African mind, I mean freeing it from self-hate, self-doubt, fear of success, fear of defeat, and an overwhelming lack of knowledge of self. And I think wherever we are in the African world, we know that these words are extremely important. We may differ, because I think this is what one issue we have with each other as African people, that we may differ in how we see the current situation and what should be done. Some of us want to be radical, some of us want to be militant, others say we should just go with the flow, we should just accept what has happened. I'm definitely in the former category. I think we need to stand up more than ever. I think the fight has become more intense than ever. And I also realize that many of us are scared of fighting, scared of taking upon ourselves the duty of doing the work that needs to be done, so that we can create the Africa that really is supposed to be. Because this Africa is not the one that we should be okay with. And I think Runoko Rashidi's legacy really challenged us to do that in the way that we can, because I think that's one thing we need to understand. Not all of us have the same gifts, talents, and callings. So we have different ways that we can bring this Africa into a practicality. And the other, so in South Africa, it's National Women's Day. It's the day when we are looking at the legacy of the 20,000 women who in 1956 marched to the racist apartheid government and said, we don't want to abide by your past laws and your way of controlling how Black bodies must move in society. And I think we know that even if the apartheid regime has been turned over, we know that apartheid still exists, racism still exists, white supremacy is very alive, and Black bodies are still being controlled, Black women's bodies are being controlled. And I think in light of that, I wanted to also share this quote from Runoko Rashidi. He said, as a strong and proud and intelligent Black man, I have no problem expressing my respect for and adoration of the Black woman. Simply put, I love you. I love the Black woman. And I want us to challenge us as Black men to love the African woman. I didn't say lust. I didn't say try to get into a relationship. I didn't say try to have a baby with her. We need to do that too. But that's not where it starts. It starts with loving her for what she represents, for who she is, for her power, for her royalty, for her history that to such a large extent has been sought to be wiped out. So I think with that, I just want to, in extension of what you just said, Brother Olusegun, also add my voice as somebody who had the fortunate of experience of meeting Brother Runoko Rashidi a couple of times and exchanged some words and some lessons with him. I know he was very passionate about African unity. He was very passionate about reparation and justice. And his wish, this is something that he said in an interview when he was interviewed in Nigeria some years back. He said, my greatest wish is to be regarded as the greatest historian ever. And when he said that, that had nothing to do with rank or to be a dominant figure. That was not his wish. His wish was, let me make sure that my dedication to what I do is so deep, so profound, so detailed, so accurate, that it can stand the test of time. And I think we can all stand before his memory and his legacy and say, yes, Baba Runoko Rashidi, you really lived up to your wish. So thank you for the legacy you have left us with. We will walk, we must walk, and we are walking in your footsteps. Thank you for what you have given us. Thank you for what you have done to the African continent and the African world. We are the extension of the work that you have put in place. Ashe.
Oh, thank you very much, Baba Buntu. That is Dr. Olubanjo Baba Buntu. Is one of the great African icons as well. The people that I respect so much, the people that give us encouragement to continue in what we are doing, because Africa is home. Africa is where we need to be celebrating on a daily basis. It's one of the people that let us understand that we're Africa, eat Africa, speak Africa, and let the world know that the Africa is the place where everything began from. You cannot talk about anything in the world today without mentioning Africa. This technology you are talking about is started here in Africa. No matter what you want to talk about in the world today, Africa is the center of it. And that is why we will always put Africa on the spotlight, to make sure that we let the incoming generation see the beauty and the glory that the Almighty placed on African continent. Baba Buntu, you have opportunity to meet Dr. Runoko several times, and you engage with him. What are the things that you see in him when you meet him physically? Because I don't have opportunity of meeting him physically. I only have opportunity of hosting him on my show, but we don't have a person that is just it's just the way we are seeing each other now. What can you tell about him, about his charisma?
You know, to me, Dr. Rashidi represented in my world the perfect academic, meaning that I have come across a lot of academics that I couldn't relate to on a personal level. I found them to be great scholars, great writers, great researchers, but when it came to interhuman contact, the spirit was off. I mean, unless we spoke about a particular book or a particular problem, there wasn't really any brotherly connection beyond that. With Rashidi, that's what really stood out about him, that he was a brother. He was somebody who could laugh, somebody who could talk. He was somebody who made everybody in the room feel comfortable. He didn't come in as this esteemed scholar that wants everyone to bow to him. He would even want to hear more from you than he wanted to ask or talk himself. He would always wear casual clothes. He would always move in a way that even people who may not have known who he is could easily have passed him and just think I think this is just a brother who's lost. I'm not sure why he's at the seminar or at this university, because he doesn't fit the stereotype of what we often see in our African universities. And I really appreciated that about him. I appreciate his love for our people. Like, if you read some of the travel stories that he has crafted and shared online, he would really spend time, and his office or his workplace was not the office, was not the secluded space, was not the far away academic hall. It was where people are. It was at the market. It was on the bus stop. It was where people are moving and where people are. And he would strike conversations everywhere he went. He would say, "My sister, can I talk to you? I can see your appearance," and especially when he went to places like India and Philippines, and he would walk up to people and say, "Can I talk to you? Can I ask you? Like, I see you as my sister. I hear that and he would just start having a conversation about, what is the story of your people? What do you know about your presence in this country? Where is the African community here? What do they do?" And then as he would open that up on a social level, he would go deeper into his studies. He would go deeper into his documentation. And maybe the last point I want to mention as well is, because I find that sometimes academic behavior can be quite disrespectful, especially when you are in places that are struck by poverty, when you are in places that are ordained by cultural protocol. Many scholars, because they are so shaped by Western values and Western ways of engaging, they cross lines and they come in and they cause abruption and they take over in a way. Dr. Rashidi did not do that at all. He would always be the humble person who asks for direction, who would say, instruct me, let me know what I should do. I don't want to cross any boundaries. I don't want to cause disrespect to anyone. So guide me. And I think that speaks a lot to his character as a brother, because we know a number of people, when they are in a certain status in society, they no longer move that way. So I think for me, his humanity, his deep love and interest in us as a people, that's really what stood out to him, and that's what inspired me so greatly.
Wow, wow, wow. Dr. Olubanjo Bantu, I really appreciate that information you drop in the space. Let me quickly look at the late Dr. Runoko. He has a lot of books, about 23 books published by him. Which of the book that you can tell us that you have opportunity to read, that you can, you get some sense of understanding more of who we are as an Africa?
Okay, so one that comes to mind is a book that I started reading many, many years ago. I think it's called African Presence in Early Asia. And it really talks about the issues that have confused us a lot, especially in terms of how, for instance, Abrahamic religions have been passed down on the African continent, where we hear about the Shem, the Ham, we hear about different races, and it's being confused. We hear that Ham had a curse, and that has been explained as the black people were cursed. There's a lot of confusion in that, and I felt that that book really, really, in a very orderly way, explains how the African strain has been there throughout history. Even when we go into Islamic religion, when we go into Christian religion, when we go into the history of what is today called the Middle East, it started as an African civilization. It started as African people. And he gives very well and very good documentation to what was done, who was there, how the history developed. So I think that is one book that really stands out for me. Other books are books where he really looked into the African footprint. I think I've read more articles than printed books, because I've sometimes found his lectures and papers online. So I've read a lot about how he has found African people around the Asian continent, how he has visited African people in Australia and New Zealand, and how he has also textured the conversations that he has had. It's not just a research project for him. It's not just noting down, taking notes and scribing books. It's also having honorable conversations. It's also to get to understand, how do people live? What mindset do they have? How do we connect as African people? Why is it, for instance, one of the things he explains is that when he met a lot of African people in, for instance, Australia, and also on the Asian subcontinent, he sometimes felt that these people are black, these people are African by any standard or any description, but sometimes I don't feel that they see me as a brother. They see me as an American. They don't see me as somebody who's of the same race. And why is that? And then he went in to explain much more about how also oppression has carved and etched a certain psychology into people in places that we don't read and hear so much about. How people have been marginalized and told that they should never associate themselves with the African continent. They must never, because they are called names. They are being looked at as the worst scum of the earth. And through that, you learn to not appreciate even other African people. And for me, hearing those textures, because race and African history and African politics and African culture is very, very important to me. It's very interesting to me. And these were stories that I hadn't really had the opportunity to hear or engage with myself. So I'm very thankful to the scripts, the documentations, and the many beautiful pictures and galleries that he also set up. I think somebody said he took about 50,000 pictures that he has, which we probably will see much more of now, because sadly, and this is sad to say, as much as Rashidi is well respected, I don't feel he's well known outside of certain circles. And hopefully, although it's sad that this should happen after he has left us physically, but I think maybe now we will see more reprints, we will see more exhibitions, we will see more displays of his work, so that more people can also engage and learn and be inspired by it.
Okay, thank you very much, Baba Buntu. I really appreciate that. I don't want us to be the only one doing this in the studio. I have a lot of people joining us. Ifon is joining us all the way from Minnesota in United States of America. Let me quickly see if I can get Ifon on the line as well. For those of you that you like to call, for those of you that you should call plus 23584 is the number to call. Kindly, let's talk about this. It's really important. I have Ifon already in the studio. Ifon, you live on the show as giving tribute to the great African icon, one of the people that really stood the ground and tell the story of who we are as an African. Really let the world know where you are and who you are and what you want to talk about Africa.
Hello?
Hello, we still go ahead.
Okay. Yes, my name is Yvonne Mondimbo, and I am tuning in from Minnesota, USA. And I am so passionate about my continent, and I give thanks to God for being a daughter of the soil. I can resonate with every Black person all over the world because I know who I am, I know where I come from. I am so glad to tune in when you guys are talking about this topic that you're talking about, and I give thanks to you and the other sir. I can't remember the name. And so I'm so passionate. This is what we are supposed to be doing because Africa is the cradle of the world. Without Africa, there will be no world. Without Africa, there will be no Europe. So why is it that Africa has everything, has been blessed with everything? Why is it that we continue to remain poor? The situation of Africa is poverty of the mind, not of resources. We, from colonialism, from slavery, Africa has been bombarded with everything. They make sure that they break the backbone of Africa, which is our culture that unites us together. And a lot of us are being confused. We need to keep talking. We need to cover the Africa in the United States of America, the Africa in Haiti, the Africa in Nigeria, come on, anywhere in the world, still African. We need to stick together because when we stick together, we are united. There is no way that somebody can come and break us again. And we need to set aside greed. We need to set aside jealousy. To set aside wickedness. Those things cannot help come together. We need to put down concrete laws that will make sure that we build who we are as Africa, no matter where we are in the world. And we need to welcome everybody. It doesn't matter from anywhere. We're all Africans. And we need to be very grateful because the origin of the human race originated from Africa. Even religion that they take to set confusion in us, the African spirituality is there. We need to embark and redefine and pick up the pieces and everything, build ourselves up and continue to do what we are doing. I am very about all of this because that is why I coach and a mindset because we need to change the paradigms and the lies that have been buried into the heads of Black people all over the world, the continent of Africa. We need to change that rhetoric. Even written books need to start to change the educational system. It's not helping us. Why is it that the computer, the cell phone things? No. We need to change this. I'm so passionate about it. When I talk about it, I just want to keep talking. But let me give you the chance. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that much in what we are doing and believe so much we managed to push this to some extent. We will see some change in our continent, in our world. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it for your time on this broadcast. Keep watching the conversation. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.
Same to you. I will. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, I just the great Africa citizen as well, joining me all the way from Brazil. IFABIYI AKANJI OLUSEGUN is joining me. This is the man that interprets or translates. Let me use that word. Translates the book, one of the great African, one that translates the book into Portuguese. I have him in the studio. He's also a professor, IFABIYI, AKANJI, OLUSEGUN, Brazilians, Yoruba, who translates OGBOJU, NINU, IRUMOLE to Portuguese. He's with me all the way from Brazil. It's live on the African Radio TV. Let me use this time to welcome this great African icon onto this beautiful conversation this night. People joining us, this is two-way show. We are entering now to the second aspect of this conversation, and also I have one of the great African citizens as well, all the way from Brazil. ADEYINKA OLAIYA is joining us as well from Brazil, is also joining us right now on the African Portal Radio International. It's going to be a beautiful, lovely time on the African Portal Radio. Let me give you guys opportunities to introduce yourself on before we continue on this program.
Yeah.
IFABIYI, AKANJI, OLUSEGUN.
Thank you very much.
No, it's a great pleasure to be here with you guys. Kudede asiko yo monkey bobo I àwọn ọmọ ilẹ̀ aláwọ̀ dúdú monkey bobo àwọn ọmọ Oòduà àwọn ọmọ kàrà òjìrè káàkiri àgbáyé. Inú mi dùn púpọ̀ láti wà níbí pẹ̀lú gbogbo yín o. Monkey bobo yín.
Adúpẹ́, ṣáyé èèyàn tí ń gbọ́ wa ní gbogbo àgbà láyé mọ̀ wípé ètò tẹ́ ń wò yìí là ń pè ní GBANKOGBI. GBANKOGBI lètò ètò níbi táti máa gbé àwọn ọmọ bíbí orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá tí wọ́n wà lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil táti máa gbé wọn wọlé sójú òpó ètò. Ẹ̀yin náà gbọ́ IFABIYI, AKANJI, OLUSEGUN ni wọ́n yín, wọ́n náà kí gbogbo wọn kí yín ní ọ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan èdè ìlú níbi tọ́wọ́ ètò yìí. Kí bàbá wa kan náà kí wọ́n wọlé sójú òpó ètò, ṣùgbọ́n kí bàbá tó wọlé ẹ jẹ́ sáré bá bàbá wa IFABIYI, AKANJI, OLUSEGUN, ẹ jẹ́ sáré bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ láàrin ìṣẹ́jú kan. Bàbá wa, inú mi dùn wípé ẹ fi èdè Yorùbá wọlé. Inú mi dùn wípé ẹ fi èdè Yorùbá wọlé. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ mi dáadáa?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá. Inú mi náà dùn púpọ̀ láti báyìí sọ̀rọ̀ lédè àbínibí lédè bàbá òun là wà.
Lédè là wà. Ẹ jẹ́ kí ọ̀gá àgbà OLAIYA, ADEYINKA OLAIYA jẹ́ kí àwọn náà kí àwọn èèyàn wá. ADEYINKA OLAIYA, ẹ sáré káwọn èèyàn wá tó wà nílé.
Ẹ máa lóòtú ẹ máa ṣe wọn lóòtú màdá máa fún yín ṣe o. Mo kí lóòtú, mo dẹ̀ kí bàbá wa IFABIYI, AKANJI, OLUSEGUN, ẹ kúṣẹ́ o, ẹ kúṣẹ́ gidi gan ni. Mo kí àwọn gbogbo àwọn tó ń wò wá láti orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil àti orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà àti Áfíríkà. Ẹ máa ṣe èmi náà ní ADEYINKA OLAIYA, ọmọ yín ẹni tó kọ́ iṣẹ́ ọnà ṣùgbọ́n tó tún fi Yorùbá tó gbé Yorùbá wọ̀ dáadáa. Olódùmarè fún wa ṣe o. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo yín, mo dúpẹ́ fún àsìkò tá tó ní láti ti fi sọ̀rọ̀ nípa èdè bàbá wa, èdè ìṣẹ̀ṣe àti èdè àti ìwà àti àṣà àwọn ènìyàn. Mo tẹ̀ tún kí pòfẹ́sọ̀ wa náà, olùkọ́ tó wọlé náà, MAVO ADELSON láti Bahia ní Brazil. Ẹ ṣé wọn, ẹ ṣe sórí ètò yìí o. Ẹ ṣé, mo dúpẹ́ o.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá, ojú òní tì yín, ìbàjẹ́ òní bá yín, ẹ̀ ní dàrúkà. Ó ti ń dún lójú òpó ètò. So MAVO ADELSON, kindly help us move a bit closer to the side of the camera so that we can see your face. Kindly help us move the camera to your face. Ó dà báwọn, ó ṣe rẹ́gí báwọn. Ilé ti kún, ojú ti pé. ẹni abala tá kọ́kọ́ fi wọlé sójú òpó ètò lábala ibi tí a ti ń kí ọ̀kan lára àwọn òǹkọ̀wé tó sì jẹ́ ọmọ bíbí orílẹ̀-èdè ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ oòjíire àtọmọ bíbí orílẹ̀-èdè ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ tí ó sọ ní ọjọ́ kejì oṣù yìí á lórí ọ̀fẹ́ láti ní èyí náà ni bàbá wa olóògbé dókítà Rashidi Runoko tó jẹ́ ọmọ bíbí orílẹ̀-èdè Amẹ́ríkà ni ṣùgbọ́n ọmọ ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ oòjíire ni wọ́n àti ọmọ ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. Àwọn náà la fi iyì àti ẹ̀yẹ wọ̀ bí akọ̀wé, bí òǹkọ̀wé àti onímọ̀ nípa tó sì ń sọ ìtàn nípa ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. Àwọn la fi abala wọn la fi ṣe ẹ̀yẹ fún wọn. Ètò yìí ní Gbáǹkọ́gbì níbi tó máa gbé àwọn ọmọ bíbí ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ oòjíire lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil tá a máa gbé wọn ní arugẹ. Ẹ̀yin tí ń gbọ́ wa ní gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé ẹ bá wọlé sórí àtàgbé ètò, ẹ máa share ètò yìí, ẹ máa da kọ́mẹ́ǹtì bò mí, ẹ mọ̀ pé mi nìkan ò lè détò ìṣe, ẹ̀yin àti èmi àti ìlàjọ pétò ètò yìí, ẹ má dé mi nìkan détò yìí, ẹ bá ń dábòlẹ̀. Ṣáájú ohun gbogbo ẹ jẹ́ kí bàbá wa tí wọ́n jẹ́ ọ̀mọ̀wé onímọ̀ kí wọ́n bá wa kí ẹ bá wa yọ dàpẹ́ tí kọ́kọ́rọ́ bọ̀, ẹ bá wa yọ kọ́kọ́rọ́ kúrò. Please help us remove the mute. You are on mute. Professor MAVO, yourself.
You have to unmute it, Professor MAVO.
Kindly unmute yourself so that we can be able to hear you in the house. Okay, your mute button is still on, and we will not be able to. Let me see if I can assist you from here.
Hear me? Hear me?
We can hear you, sir. Now you are on mute. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. God bless you. Yes, we can hear you, sir. Continue, sir. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you. And gbọ́ yín dáadáa nínú ilé. Gbogbo wa ń gbọ́ yín.
Mo fẹ́ sọ ní àkọ́kọ́. Èṣù làlú ògiri òkò. Làróyè àrógọ̀. Àbọ̀nyí ọ̀gá pa oríta. Ẹbọ ti jẹ látọ̀pá. Iṣu ọ̀dára onyilé oríta. Agọ̀gọ̀lágọ̀. Àlàmọ́làmọ́ bàtà. Ó fẹ́ bàtà kùjọ làmúlàmù. Ọkùnrin firifiri jápè. Ọkùnrin bá bí ẹ bá kò. Jagula bí ń lọ́la ní ẹ̀gbà. Àsórí ẹ̀fẹ́. Wọ́n yẹ ọ̀pẹ̀lọpẹ̀ ìgbà tí látọ̀pá. Èṣù lálù ògiri oko. Òbẹ̀lẹ̀kùn súnkún kẹrù ó bẹ̀lẹ̀kùn. Ẹlẹ́kùn súnkún láró èhùn sún jẹ. Èṣù ọ̀dára má bà mí jà. Ń olówó ẹ̀bọ yín lé. Oòrò èṣù.
Oòrò èṣù.
Bàbá má jẹ́ ìwúrẹ́jọ́ ẹ̀ka san ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ nǹkan.
Ẹ̀ka san ó bàbá.
Gan láti kọ́pa ètò yìí pẹ̀lú gbogbo yìí ọmọ ìyá nítorí pé gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri àgbáyé ọmọ ìyá àrùbá. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbèsè wá gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ìyá nítorí pé gbogbo wa ọmọ Odùduwà ló ń jẹ́. Ní pàtàkì gbogbo wa tún bẹ lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí, orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil. Ọmọ ànàgbé. Gbogbo èèyàn dúdú tún bẹ ní ìlú yìí tí ń lò èdè abínibí àwọn babaláwa nígbà tí wọ́n ń lọ lẹ́sẹ̀ òrìṣà láti gbàdúrà. Nígbà tí wọ́n ń lọ olúkálùkù ìbí lórílẹ̀ èdè yìí tí a lò èdè tí a ń lò nísinsìnyí gbogbo wa ọmọ ìyá nítorí pé ọmọ Odùduwà ọmọ èèyàn náà kò ti wá dé ìlú yìí lákòókò owó ẹrú gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹrú ṣùgbọ́n gbogbo wa gba òmìnira olúkálùkù olùkàlùkù wa ní òde òní àwa iṣẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ àwa iṣẹ́ gidigidi láti káràmásìkì àwọn ohun tí àwa pa látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn bàbá wa ẹ̀ka ọ̀sán inú mi dùn gan láti kópa àǹfààní pẹ̀lú gbogbo yìí. Orúkọ tèmi ní orúkọ àgbà.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá, ojú òní tì yín.
Ẹ kúṣẹ́.
Sorry.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá, ojú òní tì yín. À ń gbọ́ yín, a sì ń gbọ́ yín dáadáa. Ẹ jẹ́ sáré jẹ́ kí n fèsì sí ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ ti sọ. Ẹ já máa ṣe lẹ́yọ kọ̀ọ̀kan, ká máa mú lẹ́yọ kọ̀ọ̀kan, ká máa mú lẹ́sọ̀. Ohun àfẹsọ̀mú, òun náà ni ò ní fọ́. Inú mi dùn ọ̀nà tẹ́ ẹ gbà wọlé o. Abẹ́lẹ́kùn sunkún, ẹlẹ́kùn sunkún la róye jẹ. Ọlọ́run ẹ sọ wípé ìdí àwọn baba ńlá wa tí wọ́n kó lé wá sókè
ní ọjọ́ òní ọjọ́ àjẹlọ ní.
Ó lẹ́yìn ò wá gbàgbé tẹ́yìn wá ń pọ́n léyìí.
Ní ọjọ́ òní a máa bọ̀.
Ọjọ́ ajé lónìí kẹ́ẹ̀rájé jẹun.
Ọjọ́ tí a wá ń bọ̀ èṣù.
Àṣẹ Èdùmàrè.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil.
Ní ìlú àwa.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Mo ń retí pé gbogbo mo ń retí pé Yorùbá káyé lè bo ohun tí a wá ń sọ ní sí. Bíbẹ̀ kọ́ àwa lè lo èdè òyìnbó.
Bàbá ẹ jẹ́ àṣẹ báyìí. Bàbá ẹjẹ́ àti ibìkan mu torí bàbá wa Ifábíyì náà ń bẹ nínú ilé kálíbà àgbọ̀ látọ̀dọ̀ bàbá wa Ifábíyì. Bàbá wa Ifábíyì Àkànjí Olúṣẹ́gun. Ó ní tìyín. Ó yá ẹ bá ń sáré kí àwọn èèyàn ẹ bá ń kí àwọn èèyàn tí ń gbọ́ ayín àti ibi tẹ́ ẹ dé dúró bí ọmọ Yorùbá lórílẹ̀‐èdè Brazil.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá. Ẹ dákun bàbá, ẹ dákun darí mi jí bí mo bá gbọ́ gbogbo ohun tí ẹ sọ nítorí pé mo ń kọ́ èdè Yorùbá, mo máa ń kọ́ èdè Yorùbá, mo ń bú ọlá fún olùkọ́ mi tí orúkọ rẹ̀ ń jẹ́ bàbá MAVO ADELSON tó ń jẹ́ àlùfáà, tó ń jẹ́ olórí nínú ẹ̀sìn tí a ń pè ní Candomblé ní orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil. Mo ń bú ọlá fún MAVO ADELSON nítorí pé bí mo bá lè bá ara yìí sọ̀rọ̀ ní èdè Yorùbá, mo gbọ́dọ̀ yìn bàbá MAVO ADELSON. Ok bàbá, ṣùgbọ́n mo máa gbìyànjú láti bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ ní èdè Yorùbá nígbà gbogbo. Ó máa ṣe kí lákòókò mìíràn n kò ní ìbọ̀ gbogbo ohun tí ẹ bá mi sọ. Ok, ẹ dákun darí mi jí nígbà tí n kò bọ̀ àwọn ohun tí ẹ bá mi sọ bàbá. Mo máa yàtọ̀ sí èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì, ok? Mo ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín.
Ẹ jẹ́ sáré fèsì sí. Let me quickly respond to that. Thank you very much. I appreciate both of you, and I appreciate Adeyinka, Olayinka. Thank you very much. I'm going to allow you to continue what you are saying. Joining us, this is a Yoruba program. If in case some of the things that I say, I will say it again in English so that I can accommodate everybody to hear what I'm saying. But I have the great people with me in the studio. IFABIYI, AKANJI, Olusegun is with me, and Professor MAVO ADELSON is also with me, and I also have one of the general ADEYINKA me as well. So those are joining us, please follow carefully. I have Mary Bowman joining us all the way from Brazil. She's watching ADEYINKA OLAIYA. Thank you very much, sir. I have man joining us all the way from Brazil. Watch the program. Mary Bowman, thank you very much. Please invite all the African citizens in Brazil, in where you have Please kindly ask them to join us as well. Together, Prof, you to join us. I have Mary Bowman joining us as well outside Africa. So all of the African citizens, home and abroad, this is your show. This is GBANKOGBI. Eto, níbi tá ti mọ sọ GBANKOGBI èdè Yorùbá, tá mọ fa kò mú òkun yọ. Ẹ̀yin yẹn tí ń gbọ́ ní gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé, bàbá wa Ifábíyì Àkànjí, wọ́n ń ṣàlàyé ara wọn. Àwọn náà yí ìwé tí bàbá wa Fágúnwà, ọ̀mọ̀wé Fágúnwà, wọ́n yí sí èdè. Wọ́n wà lórí òpó ètò pẹ̀lú mi. Mo sì ní onímọ̀ tí wọ́n jẹ́ ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n náà pẹ̀lú mi, MAVO, àwọn náà wà pẹ̀lú mi. Bàbá wa Ifábíyì Àkànjí Olúṣẹ́gun, ọmọ bíbí orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil ni wọ́n, ṣùgbọ́n ọmọ Yorùbá ni wọ́n, ọmọ Yorùbá. Àwọn náà yí ìwé tí wọ́n á pè ní Ògbójú ọdẹ nínú igbó Irúmọlẹ̀ tí wọ́n yí sí èdè Pọ̀tùgí. Bàbá wa Ifábíyì Àkànjí, ẹ ń ṣàlàyé kankan lọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan. Ẹ sáré ṣàlàyé òun síwájú díẹ̀ sí. Kindly continue with your explanation, bàbá wa Ifábíyì.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Mo máa gbìyànjú láti bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ lédè Yorùbá. Èmi ń jẹ́ onímọ̀ nípa ẹ̀rọ kọ̀m̀pútà. Mo ń ṣiṣẹ́ nísinsìnyí nínú ilé adájọ́ kan tó wà nílùú São Paulo. Mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kọ́ èdè Yorùbá pẹ̀lú bàbá MAVO ADELSON. Nígbà tí mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kọ́ èdè bàbá ńlá wa, mo ń ronú pé àwa máa lè gba fi ìwé àwọn iṣẹ́ ìwé Yorùbá gbajúmọ̀ fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil. Nítorí èyí, mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí túmọ̀ ìwé sí èdè Pòtùgí pẹ̀lú ìrànlọ́wọ́ bàbá MAVO ADELSON tí ó ràn mí lọ́wọ́ láti ṣe. Okay, bàbá. Mo ronú pé ó ń ṣe pàtàkì púpọ̀ fún gbogbo wa tó ń jẹ́ ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil kí a mọ̀ iṣẹ́ òǹkọ̀wé àwọn òǹkọ̀wé Yorùbá, literature Yorùbá. Nítorí pé Brazil jẹ́ orílẹ̀-èdè kan nínú Amẹ́ríkà, níbi tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ènìyàn ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire tí ń lọ sí ibi yìí nípasẹ̀ oko ẹrú láyé àtijọ́. Wọ́n gbé bàbá ńlá wa sí èdè wọn. Wọ́n gbé wọn lọ sí orílẹ̀-èdè yìí láìsí òmìnira láti ṣe gbogbo ohun tí wọ́n ń fẹ́ ṣe. Àwọn ṣẹ́gun oúnjẹ ìṣẹ́gun tó ń ṣe pàtàkì púpọ̀ fún gbogbo wa tó ń jẹ́ ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil, tí a lè lo èdè àbínibí láti bára wa sọ̀rọ̀, tí a lè lo èdè àbínibí láti kàwé nínú èdè Yorùbá, tí a lè fi èdè Yorùbá gbajúmọ̀ fún gbogbo ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil. Nítorí yìí tí a ń túmọ̀ ìwé Daniel, ìwé tí bàbá olóyè Daniel Orowọlé Olórunfẹ́mi Fágúnwà tí ń kọ̀wé sí èdè Pòtùgí láti kí gbogbo wa tó ń jẹ́ ọmọ orílẹ̀ Brazil a lè mọ̀ ìwé àti iṣẹ́ tí olórí Daniel Fágúnwà ti ṣe. Daniel Fágúnwà ti jẹ́ òǹkọ̀wé tí kọ́kọ́ kọ ìwé ní èdè Yorùbá sílẹ̀. Iṣẹ́ tí olóyè Daniel Fágúnwà ti ṣe láyé àtijọ́ lọ́dún 1938. Ó ń ṣe pàtàkì fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire káàkiri àgbáyé. Gbogbo wa tó ń jẹ́ ọmọ Oòduà àwa lè mọ̀ àwa gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ ìwé tí olóyè Daniel Fagunwa ti ṣe.
Ẹ ṣe bàbá ojú òní tìyín bàbá wa Ifábíyì Àkànjí àwọn náà lẹ ń gbọ́ wọn tí wọ́n ń ṣàlàyé nípa ìwé tí wọ́n túmọ̀ sí èdè Pọtugí èyí náà ni ìwé tí bàbá wa olóyè Fagunwa tí wọ́n kọ ní àìmọye ọdún sẹ́yìn àwọn ni wọ́n wá túwọ̀ ìwé yìí sí èdè Pọtugí ó náà ni wọ́n ń ṣàlàyé pé ó ṣe pàtàkì fún àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá pàápàá èyí tẹ́ ẹ sọ èdè Yorùbá tẹ́ ẹ sọ di àyànsọ nínú ilé tẹ́ ẹ ń sọ èdè ìbò sọmọ yín ẹ̀yin náà gbọ́ èdè Yorùbá lẹ́nu Yorùbá tí wọ́n bí sórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil ni wọ́n ń sọ sí yín yìí o ọ̀nà fi ń ṣàlàyé ọ̀rọ̀ fún yín yìí o ọ̀nà fi ń pàpọ̀ àtàkíyèsí wọ́n ń pè wá sàkíyèsí ṣé ó ṣe pàtàkì pé ká mú èdè àti àṣà wa ká mú ní ọ̀kúnkúndùn kó lè bá a jẹ́ ohun ayọ̀ ohun ẹ̀yìn wa kéde wa máa wà lọ tó jẹ́ wípé kò ní sí mọ́ ilẹ̀ jẹ́ ni ò ní jẹ́ àwọn tí ó lọ́la náà ò ní jẹ́ lágbára Èdùmàrè èdè wo ò ní kú èdè yóò sì ní parun ẹ jẹ́ kí bàbá wa Professor MAVO Adelson ẹ jẹ́ gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ wọn onímọ̀ ni wọ́n nípa èdè Yorùbá àti nípa ìṣẹ̀ṣe tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn àṣà àti ìṣe àwọn baba ńlá wa àwọn tí àwọn baba ńlá wa tí wọ́n gbé dání nígbà tí wọ́n mú wọn kúrò nílẹ̀ baba wọn láì mọ iye ọdún sẹ́yìn wọ́n kó wọn kúrò nílẹ̀ baba wọn wọ́n kó wọn wá sóde Brazil bíi gbọ́n nígbà tí òmìnira sí fún wọn wọn ò gbàgbé àṣà wọn ò gbàgbé ìṣe wọn wọn ò gbàgbé ìjọmọnìyàn wọn lórílẹ̀‐èdè Brazil lónìí èdè Yorùbá wá di èdè tó jẹ́ wípé èdè tí gbogbo ènìyàn ń sọ mo sì ń gba gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lórílẹ̀‐èdè Brazil níyànjú wípé ẹ rí i dájú pé ẹ ń sọ èdè yìí ẹ tún mọ sọ sáwọn ọmọ yín náà kọ́la lè bá a wà fún wa ẹ ní dààmú ẹ jẹ́ gbọ́dọ̀ tọ̀dọ̀ bàbá wa Professor MAVO Adelson.
Okay inú mi dùn gan láti kọ́pá gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo sọ ní ìgbà àkọ́kọ́ tí mo sọ nípa àǹfààní yìí láti kọ́pá ní èdè yìí inú mi dùn gan mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ẹlẹ́dùwà fún làkàyé ńláńlá nínú ọpọlọ mi mo tún dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ẹlẹ́dùwà fún làkàyé ńláńlá nínú ọpọlọ Olúṣẹ́gun Emmanuel IFABIYI AKANJI nítorí pé Emmanuel Olúṣẹ́gun dì gẹ́gẹ́ bí akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ mi tí ó di pàtàkì púpọ̀ tí ó di bí àwòṣe fún gbogbo akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ mìíràn nítorí pé ó dì gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ kárọ̀ òjèrè tí ó ń ṣiṣẹ́ gidigidi fún ìpolongo àti ìdàgbàsókè èdè àti àṣà wa káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè yìí nítorí pé ní orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil pàápàá ní ìlú Salvador nítorí pé fún àpẹẹrẹ ní sísí yìí mò ń sọ fún gbogbo wa láti ìlú Salvador tí olú ìlú Salvador ní ìlú Salvador ní olú ìlú ìpínlẹ̀ Bahia di gẹ́gẹ́ bí agbègbè pàtàkì púpọ̀ nítorí ìbátan tí orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil ní ìbátan tí orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil ní pẹ̀lú ilẹ̀ aláwọ̀ dúdú. Èdè tí àwọn àlọ́ èdè tí a lò ní sísè fún ìbáraẹnisọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ ní gbogbo wa ní ayé àtijọ́ lákòókò òwèrú di gẹ́gẹ́ bí lingua franca láàrin gbogbo èèyàn dúdú tí wà láti ilẹ̀ aláwọ̀ dúdú dé ní ìlú yìí nítorí pé láti ìgbà láéláé gbogbo àwọn ọmọ kárọ̀ òjìrè di gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ̀yà kan ní ṣiṣẹ́ gidigidi láti ìpamọ́ èdè àti àṣà àbínibí àwọn babaláwa lò nígbà tí wọ́n ń gbé ní ilẹ̀ Karọ̀ gidi. Nítorí èyí ẹ jẹ́ kí a sọ pé ní orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil àwọn aláṣẹ ìjọba fẹ́ Brazil jí gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè tí kò sí ìbátan kankan pẹ̀lú ilẹ̀ aláwọ̀ dúdú nítorí pé ó bọ́ ń fẹ́ kí Brazil jí gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè kan tí ó ní ìbátan nìkan pẹ̀lú Europe. Nítorí èyí wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ gidigidi láti ìpamọ́ láti ń ṣe gidigidi nítorí gbogbo wọn fẹ́ àṣà àti èdè wa destroyed because they wọ́n fẹ́ gidigidi pé Brazil jí gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè nínú èyí tí gbogbo èèyàn funfun ṣìkàn ń bẹ nílùú yìí. Ṣùgbọ́n àwa ń ṣe gidigidi láti káràmásìkì àwọn gbogbo ohun tí àwa bá látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn baba ńlá wa láti ilẹ̀ aláwọ̀ dúdú pàápàá jùlọ èdè àti àṣà àbínibí ilẹ̀ Karọ̀ òjìrè. Nítorí pé fún àpẹẹrẹ ìjọsìn òrìṣà ní agbára gidigidi lórí orílẹ̀-èdè pátápátá. Nítorí èyí àwa gbọ́gọ̀ púpọ̀ nítorí pé àwa lè lọ lẹ́sẹ̀ òrìṣà gbàdúrà lo èdè àbínibí àwọn babaláwa. Nítorí èyí inú mi dùn, inú mi ògo púpọ̀ nítorí Olúṣẹ́gun Emmanuel ṣe iṣẹ́ gidigidi láti káràmásì àwọn ohun tí àwa àgbà látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn babaláwa.
Ẹ̀pẹ́lẹ̀ o bàbá.
Ẹ ṣe bàbá ẹ sọ ẹ pẹ́ fún wa bàbá ẹ pẹ́ fún wa àgbà ò ní tán lórílẹ̀ lágbára Èdùmàrè oyin yóò sì ní kan lágbára Èdùmàrè ọgbọ́n ní yóò sì ní lágbára Èdùmàrè. Ẹ jẹ́ fún bàbá wa Adéyínká Ọláìyá ẹ jẹ́ fún wọn láǹfààní. Bàbá wa Adéyínká Ọláìyá sílẹ̀ wà ẹ sì jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára àwọn ọmọ bíbí orílẹ̀-èdè tí ó ń ṣe takuntakun lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil. Ẹ bá ń ṣàlàyé fáwọn tí ń gbọ́ wa ń lé pàtàkì èdè Yorùbá pàápàá ṣe ilẹ̀ Yorùbá wá dé Brazil lónìí. Ẹ bá ń ṣàlàyé fáwọn tí ń gbọ́ wa ń lé ṣùgbọ́n kẹ́ tó ṣùn ẹ jẹ́ ń kọ́kọ́ pé ẹ jẹ́ ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gba àwọn èèyàn tí ń wọlé sójú òpó ètò yìí torí ó ṣe pàtàkì àwa àti wọn náà jọ ń ṣètò náà ni. Bàbá wa Adélékè Táíwò kú iṣẹ́ náà ẹ ṣeun ojú òní tì yín ìbàjẹ́ òní bá yín àrùn ojú òpó ètò. Ìyá wa Oliveria ní àpò ẹ ní ojú òní tì yín. Bàbá wa gbé nígbà òní fọ́ ayé òsì ní rí yín mú lágbára Èdùmàrè ẹ ní ṣìṣe o adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín à ń rọ́wọ́ yín lójú òpó ètò. Bàbá wa Akeem Mákindé ẹ̀yin náà ẹ ní dàrúkà o lágbára Èdùmàrè à ń rọ́wọ́ yín inú wa sì ń dùn bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń wọlé sójú òpó ètò yìí. Gbogbo yín pátápátá tí ń wọlé náà ni mo kí yín tẹ̀ṣọ́ mo kí yín tológun mo fi yọ ọmọlúwàbí ní gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé pátápátá níbi tó wọ́n jẹ́ ètò yìí ń jáde bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń wọlé ẹ̀ máa ṣíà ètò yìí. Àdáta Gbáǹkọ́gbì ètò níbi tá a ti ń sọ pẹ́rẹpẹ́rẹ èdè Yorùbá lójú eégún ta fún mú òkun yọ nínú èdè Yorùbá. Bàbá wa Adéyínká ẹ bá ń sáré ṣàlàyé fáwọn tí ń gbọ́ wa lé ibi tí iṣẹ́ dé dúró àti ìtẹ̀síwájú tí ń bá àṣà àti ṣe ilẹ̀ Káàárọ̀ Oòjíire pàápàá èdè wa lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil.
ẹ máa ṣeun mi gan olóòtú ẹ̀mí tó dúpẹ́ pàápàá jùlọ lọ́wọ́ bàbá wa IFABIYI àti olùkọ́ èdè Yorùbá àti àṣà Yorùbá bàbá wa MAVO. Pàápàá jùlọ àsìkò ní fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa láti mọ pàtàkì èdè Yorùbá àti àṣà wa. Tá bá rí wọ́n ṣe ń gbé lárugẹ ní orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil àti orílẹ̀-èdè àti agbègbè, kì í ṣe Brazil nìkan bí kò ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè lágbègbè. A ó rí wípé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló pàápàá jùlọ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ní Nàìjíríà lórílẹ̀-èdè wa, tá bá pe lé ní sí, a ó rí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ọmọ wa wọ́n ń sọ èdè wa mọ́, wọ́n ń sọ Yorùbá mọ́. Òun là ń rí nílẹ̀ Brazil, òun là ń rí lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil, ní Salvador, ní Bahia, ní Sao Paulo, ní Rio de Janeiro. Owó ni wọ́n fi ń kọ́, wọ́n ṣe ń gbé ẹ̀sìn wa lárugẹ, gbé èdè wa lárugẹ, tó ń gbé àṣà wa lárugẹ, tó ń ṣe. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa, ẹ má jẹ́ ká jìnnà sí, ẹ jẹ́ ká súnmọ́. Èmi tẹ́ ń rí yìí, iṣẹ́ ọnà ni mo kọ́, ká máa yàwòrán ni, ṣùgbọ́n àwọn táwa ń yà, à ń yàwòrán tiwa kó súnmọ́ àṣà àti èdè ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbìyànjú, ẹ jẹ́ ká súnmọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ ká tìínú, ẹ má jẹ́ ká sọ èdè wa nù. Ó ṣe pàtàkì. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba Brazil, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn ẹlẹ́sìn nílẹ̀ Brazil, àwọn ẹlẹ́sìn ìṣẹ̀ṣe nílẹ̀ Brazil. Wọ́n ṣe ń gbìyànjú, Olódùmarè á máa fún yín ṣe. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé lárugẹ, ẹ má jẹ́ kí àṣà, ẹ má jẹ́ kí èdè, ẹ má jẹ́ kí ìwà, ẹ má jẹ́ kí ẹ̀sìn àwọn bàbá wa, ẹ má jẹ́ ó sọ, kò ní sọ, kò ní bàjẹ́ lórí wa o. Ẹ ṣé olóòtú, mo dúpẹ́ o.
Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ bàbá.
Mi ò mọ̀ bóyá bàbá wa Ifábíyì bí ẹ lérò láti sọ.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá. Bàbá mo fẹ́ láti sọ pé
bàbá wa Ifábíyì.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá mo fẹ́ sọ pé nígbà tí a ronú nípa iṣẹ́ tí olóyè Daniel Olórunfẹ́mi Fágúnwà ti ṣe pẹ̀lú ìwé Ògbójú Ọdẹ nínú Ìgbò Ìrúnmọlẹ̀, tó ń ṣe ìwé àkọ́kọ́ tí wọ́n ń kọ́ lédè Yorùbá. Àwa máa gbọ́dọ̀ ronú pé lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil àti lórílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, àwọn sìn àwọn ìrúnmọlẹ̀, àwọn sìn àwọn òrìṣà àkúnlẹ̀bọ̀. Nígbà tí a kàwé orí àkọ́kọ́ nínú ìwé tí olóyè Daniel Fágúnwà ti ń kọ, a máa ṣe àlàyé pé ó bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn òbí ènìyàn tó ń ṣe pàtàkì nínú ìwé tí orúkọ rẹ̀ ń jẹ́ Àkàrà Ògún. Ó ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa bàbá àti ìyá Àkàrà Ògún. Ṣùgbọ́n a lè rí nínú ìwé yìí tí bàbá Fágúnwà tí ń kọ ní lọ́dún 1938. A máa rí pé ó ń jẹ́ some influence, nǹkan báwo ni a ṣe lè sọ influence lédè Yorùbá, ṣùgbọ́n ó wà influence ìgbàgbọ́ Kírísítíẹ́nì nínú ìwé tí bàbá Daniel Fágúnwà ti kọ. Nítorí pé àwọn bàbá àti ìyá Chief Daniel Fágúnwà, wọ́n ti sọ wọ́n di nínú ìgbàgbọ́ Kírísítíẹ́nì. Wọ́n bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìyá Àkàrà Ògún gẹ́gẹ́ bí ògbólójú àjẹ́. Ìtàn ògbólójú àjẹ́ tí ń jẹ́ ìyá Àkàrà Ògún, ó dàbí ìtàn tí àwa tó ń jẹ́ ọmọ orílẹ̀ Brazil mọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìrúmọlẹ̀ ọ̀yà tí orúkọ rẹ̀ nínú òde ọ̀run ń jẹ́ àràká. Ìtàn ìyá àkàrà Ògún, ìtàn ó dàbí ìtàn ọ̀yà nítorí pé nígbà tí ọ̀yà ti rọ̀ sí òde ayé láti ìsàlù ọ̀run, ó rọ̀ nípa odò Ọ̀ṣàgùndà tó bá wí pé Ọ̀ṣàgùndà orí búndà àdífá fún olókòsí ẹ̀pẹ́ tí ó lọ sóko ọdẹ tí ó pàdé àràká dandan yóò fẹ́ obìnrin kàṣà ìfẹ́ obìnrin àbámi Ọ̀rúnmìlà ní kí òru ọ̀pọ̀ ẹbọ rírú ẹbọ ní bo ẹni àìrú ẹbọ kí bo ènìyàn kò ìpẹ́ kò ìjìnà tí Ifá ń ṣe bí àlà olùkọ́sí ẹ̀pẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bàbá olùkọ́sí ẹ̀pẹ́ ìtàn ọkùnrin yìí ó dàbí ìtàn bàbá àkàrà Ògún tó ń ṣe ènìyàn pàtàkì nínú ìwé tí Daniel Olórunfẹ́mi Fágúnwà ti kọ sílẹ̀. So nígbà tí a ronú nípa ìwé yìí àwọn ìtàn tí olóyè Daniel Fágúnwà ti kọ sílẹ̀ ó dàbí àwọn ìtàn tí a bọ̀ nínú orílẹ̀-èdè wa, àwọn ìtàn ìrúmọlẹ̀ tí a bọ̀ nínú orílẹ̀-èdè wa. Nítorí èyí ó ń ṣe pàtàkì púpọ̀ kí a mọ̀ kí gbogbo wa tó ń jẹ́ ọmọ Oòduà káàkiri àgbáyé a mọ̀ iṣẹ́ tí olóyè Daniel Fágúnwà ti ṣe láyé àtijọ́.
Ẹ ṣé bàbá.
Ẹ ṣé wọ́n dúpẹ́ bàbá.
Tí ń gbọ́ wa ní gbogbo àgbáńláyé Olúníkẹ́ Mọ́yọ̀sọ́rẹ́ Àjàní dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àrọ́wọ́ yín. Hey, Ronaldo Costa, thank you very much. I can feel you there. Thank you so much, those of you that are joining us. I really appreciate every one of you. Adekunle Aderonmu, thank you very, very. I appreciate every one of you. Don't mind me. I'll be putting some English into it so that I can accommodate some of the people that don't understand the Yoruba other side. Okay, all right. Let's quickly just the word. Thank you very much, Julie. I appreciate you. Keep sharing it. Keep sharing it. Okay. IFABIYI AKANJI, inú mi dùn fàlàyé tẹ́ ṣeun pàápàá nípa ìwé tí bàbá wa Olúfẹ́mi Daniel Fágúnwà tí wọ́n kọ. Ẹ̀yin ṣàlàyé àkàrà oògùn ìwé ìtàn wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àkàrà oògùn. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ bá mi ni ò tiẹ̀ tí ì kàwé òun tó jẹ́ wípé wọn ò tiẹ̀ mọ nǹkan tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa rẹ̀. Wọ́n sì jọmọ bíbí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tó jẹ́ pé tẹ́ bá ní kán tiẹ̀ lọ kàwé ògbójú ọdẹnu gbórúmọlẹ̀ wọ́n ní kí ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n tiẹ̀ ní píye sí débi pé wọ́n sọ pé àwọn fẹ́ kà á ṣùgbọ́n yín lórí ọ̀fẹ́ ẹ kàwé yìí ẹ tún wáyé sédè Portuguese ẹ jẹ́ béèrè kan lọ́wọ́ yín. Let me ask you a question. When you interpret this book into Portuguese, what is the acceptance like? How do people feel about it? And what is the feeling like? Bó làwọn èèyàn ṣe rí wéè sí, kí ni ìfẹ́ àwọn èèyàn sí wéè yìí, kí sì ní kan táwọn èèyàn fi sí Portuguese, bàbá wa yìí.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá, nkólé bọ̀ gbogbo ohun tí ẹ sọ nítorí àwùjọ ti have cut, ṣùgbọ́n mo máa lè gbìyànjú láti dá yín lóhùn. Àkóyí ti tẹ̀ ìwé ìjáde nítorí àwa ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn sọ̀rọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn publishers of ìwé nípa ẹ̀tọ́ láti tẹ̀ ìwé ìjáde. Ìwé àwa lè register it, the translation ìtumọ̀ ìwé, ṣùgbọ́n à ń sọ pẹ̀lú àwọn ènìyàn tó ń ní ẹ̀tọ́ láti tẹ̀ jáde ìwé. Àwa ń bá wọn sọ láti publish it, láti tẹ̀ ìwé ìjáde lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil. we have registered the translation. Ṣùgbọ́n kò tí tẹ̀ ìwé jáde. Okay. We haven't published it yet because we have to, Benny Baba.
Okay, sorry, if you can hear me, let me just.
Can I talk? Is it okay? Because
please,
there are some fluctuation is, you know, but anyway, what we are struggling in order to get a license from the publishers, but actually we have to confess, we have to say that it's been difficult for us to get in touch with the publishers. We have also asked our dear brother ADEYINKA to help us in this sense, because what happens is that if you take as a basis the addresses, the contacts, you know, that you see on the book, and you try to get in touch with them, you are not successful because actually they kind of not working. Let me try to put it a little bit more clearly. The addresses that you see on the book, that when you read the book, those addresses are not working anymore. And so we have tried many, how can I say, we have tried many ways to get in touch with the publishers, but we have not been successful up to this stage. But we have asked our brother ADEYINKA, and also I have, you know, I am not right now, I am working on a book named Awan Anagoni Bahia. We are calling this book a triplet because it will be published in Yoruba, in English and Portuguese. And I have already got a kind of, he is performing the revision. He is checking, you know, the things I'm writing in the Yoruba. And I also have asked his name is Ajibona, is Abiodun Jibona. I have also asked him to get in touch with the publishers, you know, anyway. So for these publishers to answer, to respond to our solicitations, because we actually want to publish this book in Portuguese because we think it's very important for the people, Yoruba people in this country, know that we have the authors that actually produce good literature, you know, in Yoruba. Because in this country here, they, till now, they have regarded us as ignorant people that have no literature, that they have no history, you know, due to the coward campaign moved by the Portuguese colonizers that they needed to use us as a slave, as a free, you know, free workers. We have worked for 300 years for free for building this country, and now this country is planning, has always planned to pay us back racism and discrimination. And I think it's over. It's enough. Enough is enough. That's why I say that. Oh, di akoko. That's what I want. I wanted to add to my comments. Thank you very much for the opportunity you gave me.
Baba. Baba.
That's it.
Baba. Ojo ni tiyin. Ibajo Motors of joining us. Abiola Ogunlowo, thank you very much. Ekweto, Mr. Dare Oluson, Mr. ADEYINKA and Co. I greet you. Thank you very much. We greet you as well. Thank you. I really appreciate that explanation that you just know that situation right now and the challenges that you are facing. Yes, This is one of the things that we need to put on the spotlight, because nobody is going to tell this story for us. And we ourselves, we need to stand our ground and tell our story by ourselves. You see, we are facing challenges now to publish this book. According to our professor, says that they served the country of Brazil for 300 years as a slave. It's time for the African citizen, for the Yorubas in Brazil to have their freedom. This reason, this looking down on us should be enhanced now. It is our turn to let the world know that the black race, we are not less privileged. Right position where we belong, and let our voice be heard. Give us the opportunity to tell our story in our own way. Don't let us be the one that you will be dictated for to tell us what to do. No, we are more than that now. We know what is right. Yes, when they don't have opportunity to the education, you take advantage of them. You use them. You force them into slavery. Now they develop for you. It is the time for us to benefit from of our forefathers. And it is time for us to make sure that we enjoy what our forefathers have suffered for. It is the time for us as the black race to enjoy what our forefathers have worked for. You enslave them, you use them, you abuse them, you put them in the jail, and now we are up to task. And to let you know that Africa is ready. Thank you very much, those of you that you are joining us. I really appreciate it. Baba, ẹ ṣeun, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín fún àǹfààní tẹ́ ti ṣàlàyé àlàyé tẹ́ ṣe. Àwa náà rí nǹkan tá a ṣe sí i. Baba Ọláyínká náà ń bẹ lójú pé ètò tí wọ́n ń gbọ́ yín mọ̀ làwọn náà nípa pé à ń gbéwò síta. A ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí gbogbo àwọn òwe yìí náà ni ó jẹ́ gbígbé síta tí àwọn ará yóò sì mọ rí kà. Pàápàá nílẹ̀ káàárọ̀ òjíire, èdè Yorùbá rẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ wà ní gbogbo orílẹ̀ káàárọ̀ òjíire pátápátá. Káwọn lè wà ní àǹfààní láti rí pàtàkì èdè àti àṣà wa. Bàbá mò ń ṣe ní kankan nítorí bàbá wa Professor MAVO, ẹ já sáré sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àṣà. Nípa àṣà, à ń jẹun, à ń wọṣọ lórílẹ̀. Kí làwọn àṣà wa mú wọlé láti ilẹ̀ káàkiri tó sì wà yìí tẹ̀sí ń ṣe? Bóyá oúnjẹ ni o, bóyá ìfẹ́ ni o, bóyá ìkíni ni o, tẹ́ lè ṣàlàyé fáwọn tí ń gbọ́ wá nílé. Let me say it in English. What are the things that our forefathers actually bring along with them? Let's say in greetings, whether it's food, whether it's dressing, that is still existing now, and you are still practicing them in Brazil.
English, àbí Yorùbá. Ìjọsìn ìbílẹ̀, fún àpẹẹrẹ ìjọsìn ìbílẹ̀ tí àwọn bàbá ńlá wa bá láti wà nígbà tí wọ́n dé ní orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Àwọn ìjọsìn, the religions, the religions, Orisha and Vodun religions are very strong in this country. Let me tell you that government authorities work as hard, and mainly not only government authorities, but Catholic Church has been working for 500 years, trying to eliminate our religions, Orisha and Vodun religions. But they have not been successful. Our original religions that our forefathers brought from Africa with some adaptations, has been with full force in this country and generating influence that goes back to Africa. Many adaptations you find in Africa nowadays in relation with our Orisha religions are adaptations that were developed by us in this country during these 400, maybe 500 years. And 500 years we have been battled from Brazilian white elites and Catholic, authorities trying to eliminate our religions, but thanks to Eshu, they have not been successful. That's what I want all the world to know. Everybody that can understand Yoruba, that cannot understand Yoruba, but can understand English, know that our religion has thrived for 500 years despite the struggle set supported by the government since the very day they invented the name Brazil to this country. Because actually there is a study, official study, they talk about Brazilian that discovered Brazil. What a big lie is that? How can you discover a land in which people are living their life before you get in? So, no discovery, man, no, at all. They actually, Portuguese authorities invaded this country and took the property rights from the original people that lived here, that they dubbed Indians. That's the true story of Brazil. So now, for example, now that is the biggest TV network of Brazil, global. They are launching today a story, a soap opera, Dom Pedro, full of lies and racist, because now black people in this country are starting to open a little bit for the black people of this country, show what they can do. But they come with soap operas in which you see that clearly racist. They still want racism to be in place, to be in command of this life of this country. That's what we black people in this country. For example, here in Bahia, you have the history of the Yoruba people based on Orisha and even Vodou religion. But you have other African languages and other African cultures here that has not come as forward as we have already come, because they have not already found the elements, found the people, to push their struggle forward. That's important for us to know, that we live in a racist country that still want us to be treated as slaves. That's it important to know. But thanks to our religion, they have not been successful, no matter they have been trying to push their agenda forward for the last 500 years and so. That's what I want.
Benny Baba. Só bem, meu pai. Benny Baba.
Pai, sou boi rodando a cada dia da sua bênção. Sua bênção,
Axé. Meu pai abençoe, meu pai.
Sorry for phone.
Eshe Baba. Baba OLAIYA. Baba ADEYINKA. Baba Wade. Ẹ jẹ́ kó bàbá wa ADEYINKA láàyè tí wọ́n bá wa fèsì sí.
Ọ̀rọ̀ tó bàbá MAVO sọ yìí, omi fẹ́ lè máa bọ́ lójú mi gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá. Ẹni bí ọ̀rọ̀ ń bó ṣe wọ̀ wá lára tó, ọ̀rọ̀ gidi ni, òun gan la ń pè ní gbàǹkangbì. A ti gbalé ìgbì báyìí.
Gbàǹkangbì.
Ó ní mẹ́rin láti lé. A máa gbọ́, a dẹ̀ máa rí bí Brazil ṣe ń pariwo, wọ́n ṣe ń polówó tó, tán kanlẹ̀kùn tán pè wá pé ẹ gbọ́ síta, ẹ̀yin ní dá sí wa. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ jàjà yìí. Òun ni pòfẹ́sọ̀ wa sọ yẹn. Òun ni pòfẹ́sọ̀ MAVO sọ fún wa yẹn. Ìjà táwa ń jà ní bíbá yìí ní Brazil láti bí kọjá 20 ọdún láti wà lẹ́nu níbí. Adọ́ ń bá wọn jàjà wọn. Ìdí rèé tí èmi gẹ́gẹ́ bí ADEYINKA Ọláìyá ṣe máa ń kọ̀rọ̀ nípa àṣà, èdè, ìṣe àtọ̀rọ̀lẹ̀ Yorùbá ta fi ń polówó ẹ̀. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ kan ní kí tẹ́ fẹ́ bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ mọ́. A ní ADEYINKA ti di babaláwo. Ṣé ẹni tó bá ti kọ̀rọ̀ nípa àṣà èdè àti sílẹ̀ Yorùbá ó ti di babaláwo ni. Ṣé tí àwọn tó jẹ́ babaláwo gan ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wà ń bẹ ni? Gbogbo nǹkan báyìí òun là ń rí níbà yìí àwòrán táwa ń yà lénìí àwọn máa fi ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ohun tí àwọn ènìyàn wá ti sọnù. Ẹ má jẹ́ ó sọnù. Tẹ́ bá rí àwọn àwòrán mi níbà yìí sìn àwọn àwòrán mi yàtọ̀ ẹ ó máa rí wọn. Àwọn àwòrán tó wà níbí ṣe rí wọn àwọn àwòrán tèmi orúkọ tá máa ń fún wọn ní orúkọ Yorùbá là ń fún. Ìtànlẹ̀ Yorùbá là ń sọ. Èmi ò lè jọmọ Yorùbá kí n máa yàwòrán kí n máa sọ ní Buckingham Palace, kí n máa yàwòrán kí n máa sọ ní Island Avenue. Àwọn àwòrán tèmi ọ̀rọ̀ nípa àṣà, nípa èdè, nípa ẹ̀sìn, nípa ohun tó máa gbé Yorùbá lárugẹ ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá.
Òun ní Brazil bá professor nìyí. Àwọn náà nìyẹn. Èyí bá lọ ti kọ́ èdè. Wọ́n jà padà pé àwọn ò ní sọnù. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé lárugẹ. Olódùmarè á dẹ̀ fún wa ṣe.
Àṣẹ Olódùmarè.
Àmín. Bàbá wa Professor MAVO, mo dúpẹ́ o. Professor IFABIYI tẹ́ ń rí ọ̀tọ̀ lórúkọ tí wọ́n fún o. Òun ló fún ara ẹ̀ padà ló padà sílé ló fúnra ẹ̀ ní IFABIYI AKANJI Olúṣẹ́gun. Báwa ta wà nílé a ó máa yọ orúkọ wa bẹ́ẹ̀. Orúkọ wo là ń fúnra wa? Àwa là ń jẹ́ Mr. Thompson, àwa là ń jẹ́ Mr. Washington, àwa là ń jẹ́ Mr. Washington kan. Òun làwọn Brazilian ń padà sílé tó ń fúnra wọn ní orúkọ Yorùbá. Wọ́n lé là ń wò tá fi ń sọmọ orúkọ. Àwọn tí ń wọlé o.
Mr. Douglas.
Ẹ̀pẹ̀lẹ́ o bàbá, ẹ̀pẹ̀lẹ́.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká padà ẹ má jẹ́ kó sọnù.
N kò lè ṣe aláìní foríbalẹ̀ jẹ́kẹ̀ fún babaláwo mi tí orúkọ rẹ̀ ń jẹ́ bàbá Adékúnlé Adéròmú, kábíyèsí ọba Adékúnlé Adéròmú tó ń jẹ́ ọba Ògbóni Wáṣẹ̀ tó ń jẹ́ babaláwo pàtàkì púpọ̀ nínú ìlú São Paulo. N kò lè ṣe aláìní ń kí bàbá mi Adékúnlé Adéròmú tó ń ṣe ènìyàn pàtàkì púpọ̀ nílùú Brasil, nílùú São Paulo, nílùú tó ń gbé èdè àti àṣà Yorùbá lárugẹ, tó ń jẹ́ oníṣẹ̀ṣe pàtàkì púpọ̀ fún gbogbo wa tó ń wà nílùú yìí. Mo ń kí babaláwo mi tí orúkọ rẹ̀ ń jẹ́ kábíyèsí ọba Adékúnlé Adéròmú.
Bàbá èyí tí ń bẹ́lẹ̀ Yorùbá ti ń gbọ́ wá ṣẹ́ ìrọ́gbọ̀n kan kọ́ lórí ètò yìí. Bàbá wa Ọláyínká ẹ tẹ̀wájú. Bàbá wa Ọláyínká ẹ tẹ̀wájú.
Ẹni tí bàbá wa Ifádùn àwọn náà ń pè ní ọba Ògbóni Wáṣẹ̀ Adékúnlé Adéròmú, ìkan nínú àwọn àgbààgbà tó ń gbìyànjú nílùú pàápàá jùlọ.
Ètò yìí ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pé ètò yìí
tó gbìyànjú tó sọ tó ń gbé èdè tó ń gbé àṣà tó sì ń gbé ẹ̀sìn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tó ń gbé lárugẹ.
Àgbà wọn náà wà sórí ètò yìí torí ètò yìí ti wà fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lórílẹ̀‐èdè Brazil pátápátá.
Wọ́n gbìyànjú wa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn, dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ kágbé àṣà èdè àti ẹ̀sìn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ga nílẹ̀ Brazil. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn Yorùbá
ìṣẹ̀ṣe
wọ́n gbìyànjú Olódùmarè á máa fún wọn ṣe o. Ẹ ṣé o.
Àmín. Ẹ ṣe bàbá wa Ọláyínká. Gbáǹkọ́gbì lètò wà ní bàgbà ńlá ayé ètò bàbá ètò lẹ́ ń gbọ́ yìí. Gbáǹkọ́gbì láti orílẹ̀-èdè South Africa nílùú Victoria náà láti ń gbọ́. tó ti ń lásìkò tó kò ń la gbẹgbẹgbẹ lójú òpó ètò èdè Yorùbá kọ́ńgbélé náà lẹ́mọ̀ gbọ́ lórí ètò Gbàǹkọ́gbì ibẹ̀ láti máa gbá wọn Yorùbá tí ń bẹ lẹ́yìn odi orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá láàmú gbọ́n wá sójú òpó ètò tájọ máa ṣe ìfọ̀rọ̀jómítóró ọ̀rọ̀ táàmọ̀ túṣu désàlẹ̀ kòkò tá sì máa fakò mú òkun yọ nínú àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àti ìṣe ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀. pẹ̀lú mi onímọ̀ ni wọ́n ti Yorùbá sì yé gédégédé ọmọ bíbí orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil ni wọ́n ṣùgbọ́n ọmọ Yorùbá ni wọ́n ọmọ káàárọ̀ òjìrè ni wọ́n ẹ mọ̀ pé Yorùbá ní kò sí bá ṣe ṣe bòlò tí ò ní rùngbẹ́ kò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ṣe bòlò tí ò ní rùngbẹ́ àwọn akọni ọmọ bíbí orílẹ̀-èdè káàárọ̀ òjìrè tí wọ́n fi orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil ṣe bùjókòó àwọn lájọ ní fọ̀rọ̀jomitoro lójú òpó ètò yìí bàbá wọn Ọláyínká mo dúpẹ́ pé òkun lọ́wọ́ yín pé ẹ̀yin náà lẹ pètò èkó ẹ̀yin náà lẹ ní pé ká máa gbé èèyàn ńláńlá bọ̀ lójú òpó ètò yìí ọjọ́ mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún lètò yóò máa wá sí ti gbọ̀nyìn tá sì máa gbé àwọn sójú ètò tí a mọ̀ ní fọ̀rọ̀jomitoro ọ̀rọ̀ ká tó máa lọ kó lójú òpó ètò bàbá wa fẹ́ sáré béèrè kan lọ́wọ́ yín ká tó dípa bàbá MAVO mo fẹ́ béèrè kan náà lọ́wọ́ tiyín náà kó tó dípa kúrò kí a tó máa bá ká tó mú ètò yìí lọ sí ìdánudúró bàbá wa IFABIYI ẹ jẹ́ n bẹ̀rẹ̀ látọ̀dọ̀ yín kí ni nǹkan tó lè Yorùbá tó jẹ́ pé ọ̀tún sọ yín ní àárọ̀ ẹ sọ pé wọn ẹ̀jọ̀ orúkọ mọ́ pé orúkọ IFABIYI AKANJI OLUSEGUN lẹ fẹ́ máa jẹ́ kí ló ti gbàgbọ́ àbí ẹ fẹ́ nìkan tó mú inú yín gan.
kò lè gbọ́ bàbá mi Adéyínká kò lè gbọ́ òun tí ẹ bá mi sọ bí ẹ bá lè tún.
ẹ jẹ́ n sọ lédè Yorùbá ẹ jẹ́ n sọ lédè òyìnbó ẹ jẹ́ ìròyìn lọ́wọ́ lédè èbó ṣé n sọ lédè èbó let me say it in English let me say it in English I just want to know you have interest in Yoruba and now the name IFABIYI what make you in the language and what make you thinking of changing your name to be bearing a Yoruba name.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni baba we value mo sin àwọn òrìṣà àkúnlẹ̀bọ̀ Yorùbá mo sin àwọn ìrúmọlẹ̀ ìdílé mi ń sin àwọn òrìṣà wọ́n ti bí mi nínú ẹ̀sìn tí à ń pè ní candomblé kéètò lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil tí níbi tí a ń sìn ní àwọn ilé ìjọsìn wa àwọn òrìṣà Yorùbá so it's traditional here in Brazil to worship òrìṣà àti Yoruba ìrúmọlẹ̀ because our ancestors were Yoruba people, were Nago people. They were people from Benin, people from areas in Africa that worship Orishas and Voduns. So when I initiated myself into Candomblé, when they initiated me into the Orisha worshipness, they give us Yoruba names. It's a tradition here in Brazil that when we initiate into the Orisha tradition in the families, in the Brazilian families, they give us Yoruba names. We keep inside our house of worshipness, we keep the greetings, Yoruba greetings, Yoruba way of wearing clothes, aṣọ ìbílẹ̀, àwa nígbà tí àwọn wọlé ní ilé ìjọsìn níbo ni àbọ̀rìṣà, àwa ń dọ̀bálẹ̀ fún àwọn tó dàgbà jù wá lọ. So it's àṣà ìbílẹ̀ ní orílẹ̀-èdè Brazil. Nígbà tí àwa tẹ̀ fá, nígbà tí àwa tẹ̀ nínú ẹ̀sìn ìbílẹ̀, nígbà tí a bọ òrìṣà, kí wọ́n a máa fún wa ní orúkọ Yorùbá. Nítorí èyí tí mo ń lò orúkọ Yorùbá. I'm very proud use any Yoruba name because it honors my family tradition. It honors my ancestors who were kidnapped from Africa and was brought here to serve as slaves here in this country. So it's a great honor to us to use Yoruba names. It's a great honor to us to keep alive the traditions of our ancestors who were brought here to this country. Okay, that's the reason that we use Yoruba names because we are people who worship IRUMOLE, people who worship Orishas, people who worship Voduns. Okay, thank you so much for the question.
Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. It's gbọ́ wá ńlẹ̀ Yorùbá ẹ ṣe gbọ́ gbogbo tá à ń sọ lójú òpó ètò yìí. Ẹni pé kẹ́ríkẹ́rí ó ti di kẹ̀kẹ́ ń kẹ́ lójú òpó ètò wípé ètò Gbáǹkọ́gbì ibẹ̀ náà láti máa mú àwọn nǹkan gbẹ̀rẹ̀gìtì láàmú ti máa làbólẹ̀ tí ó máa dún tí ó máa dùn tí ó máa dún dòdò. Bàbá wa ẹ jẹ́ sáré gbé yín lọ sí àgbàlagbà ní nínú ẹ̀sìn bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Yorùbá torí gbogbo ẹ̀sìn tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè káàkiri àgbáláyé Yorùbá ní ẹ̀sìn titi wọn, Yorùbá ní àṣà titi wọn, Yorùbá ní ìṣe titi wọn, Yorùbá sì ní ìwùwà titi wọn. Bàbá látọjọ́ àwọn àná lẹ ti kọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ bàbá ńlá yín àṣà ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Kí ni àwọn nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ lè sọ fún wa gàpà bíi àgbàlagbà ọmọ Yorùbá lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil? Ó jẹ́ nǹkan tó máa ń múnú yín dùn pé ẹ jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá lórílẹ̀-èdè Brazil. That is, can I say it in English, sir? Do you want me to say it in English? Professor MAVO.
Okay. I'd like to add an explanation. I'd like to add to the explanation that OLUSEGUN provided us. Fún àpẹẹrẹ orúkọ MAVO. Ìtumọ̀ ní ìkíni tí a wà lọ ní bàtà wa sọ ní bàtà wa fẹ́ ìbátan sí aláṣẹ ńlá nínú ègbé ketu àwa ní MAVO gẹ́gẹ́ bí high authority. So from this expression MAVO that my MAVO name came from. So this is the way that what I mean is that the Yoruba tradition is very strong. For example, in our city, in our state, but people, that's important to say. That's important to take this opportunity to say that people in this, the people, the authorities, the elite, they try disguise. They say, oh, it's a kind of a stereotype. They're trying to stereotype it. So people do not penetrate the meaning. Because if people start penetrating in the meaning of the names we use, they will probably turn interested in the process of what we call identity construction, identity building. And so, see, our place, our state, Bahia State, has been regarded as a rebel state during the whole story of Brazil. They have also dubbed in the very beginning, for the first 100, 200 years of Brazil, they have dubbed our state as New Guinea due to the mainly Yoruba people and Hausa people, because most of the Hausa people that came to this country, they were Muslims, so they could read and write in Arabic. So and we had our own way to keep our records. We had it. We Yoruba people had ways to keep our records during slavery. So Bahia, in a place in which our concentration grew dangerously, this place was dubbed New Guinea due to the freedom, due to the power we had here. And so when, for example, when I say, everybody calls me MAVO ADELSON, but, and even in the government, they know me, MAVO ADELSON, but they do not try to, how can I say, try to put forward a process in which people start studying about why this man is, why do they call him MAVO ADELSON? Because they will find out, if they study, they will find out that there are some powerful roots in the name OLUSEGUN, IFABIYI. So they will try, and actually, it has started happening. People have started, hey, I want to know where do I come from. So this is the beginning of a process of identity building, and these governments, Brazilian authorities in the history, don't want such a thing to happen, because people that are proud of their culture do not bow before slavery, do not accept rules for granted. People, they want to know why they supposed to do this and that. Why are they put in this position in the society and things like that? So you understand what I mean? So we, that people in Candomblé, know the origin of our names, and we get proud. That's why people in Candomblé are always worried about individual development, because they are engaged in a process of identity building, or better, identity rescue. That's it.
Thank you. Ó dà bẹ́ ṣe lédè òyìnbó, inú mi dùn sí torí pé àwọn tí ń gbọ́ wa ń lé náà ń gbọ́ yín èdè Yorùbá yín, inú mi dùn sí pé ẹ sọ èdè Yorùbá, ṣùgbọ́n tó jẹ́ ká máa lo òyìnbó nípa àwọn kan gbọ́ wa tí wọn ò gbọ́ èdè Yorùbá, pé tòsí wọn fún wọn lánàá láti mọ nǹkan tí à ń ṣàlàyé. Ká tó bá lọ kó lójú òpó ìtẹ́jẹ́ fún bàbá wa Adéyínká Ọláìyá lórí ọ̀fẹ́. Bàbá wa Adéyínká Ọláìyá, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn iṣẹ́ ọnà lẹ ti ṣe, àwọn iṣẹ́ ọnà bíi 4 bíi 5 lẹ fi hàn wá nígbà tẹ́mi àti ń jọ ní ìfọ̀rọ̀jomitoro. Ẹ bá ń ṣàlàyé díẹ̀ nípa àwọn iṣẹ́ ọnà yín àtàwọn orúkọ tí wọ́n ń jẹ́ àti ìdítẹ́ fún wọn láwọn orúkọ ọ̀hún. Káwò bóyá rí bíi 2 àbí 3 táwọn èèyàn tó ń gbọ́ wa. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá fẹ́ ra iṣẹ́ ọnà, to those of you listening, you want to know about art when it comes to Yorubas. Is one of the great knowledgeable person that we can introduce to you. He's going to tell us a bit about his work and here behind some of it.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ ṣe mọ̀, iṣẹ́ táwa kọ́ náà níṣẹ́ ọnà, ayàwòrán ká dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀, pàápàá jùlọ ohun tá a máa ń sọ jù nípa àwọn iṣẹ́ tèmi ní nípa ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà ni ohun tí a kì í fẹ́ máa ń sọ, òun lèmi máa ń sọ jù nínú àwọn àwòrán tèmi máa ń yà nípa ìwà, nípa àṣà, ẹ̀sìn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Tẹ́ bá wo eléyìí tá a ní níbí, àwòrán yìí, táìtùlẹ̀ òun ni ọjọ́ ìdájọ́, tó bá dọjọ́ náà, ọjọ́ ìkẹyìn, ọjọ́ ìdájọ́ ńlá fún lèyí. Tẹ́ bá wo ẹ̀yìn níbí, ilé ìlà fún ní Ògùndà méjì. Ó dá mi lójú pé àwa tá a bá mọ̀ díẹ̀ nípa ẹ̀sìn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, pàápàá jùlọ ohun tá à ń pè ní 16, àmọ́ tó mọ̀ Ògùndà méjì. Òun ló ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ló sọ, òun náà ló sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí. Òun náà rí. Mo tún wá ní mì níbí. pàápàá jùlọ ó wà fún títà náà ni eléyìí mo ti polówó dáadáa rí òun ni àwọn ìyá mi òṣòròǹgà àwọn ẹlẹ́yẹ àwọn olókìkí yóòrù pẹ̀lú àwọn rèé àwọn afọ̀sọ́rìn aforúṣẹ́yẹ ìgbà ó níwọ̀n rèé. Wọ́n tún wá wà ní láti látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn òòṣà sólódùmarè.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bàbá.
Àwọn kan tẹ́ rí àwọn kan tá fi ń ṣe ní àwọn ohun pàtàkì nílẹ̀ Yorùbá pàápàá ìjọba wo wọn ta lẹ̀ mọ́jú èyí amú láti ilẹ̀ Yorùbá wá ni gbogbo àwọn ewé ni egbò gbogbo ẹ̀ lákójọ síbẹ̀ adó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní kùn oríṣiríṣi egbò oríṣiríṣi ewé oríṣiríṣi ló wà níbẹ̀ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kàbìtìkàbìtì ni tó sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àṣà nípa ẹ̀sìn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ohun tó kọ̀ fi yàtọ̀ ni wípé gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá àtẹni tó ní eléyìí wọ́n tún rè jẹ́ rí báyìí.
à ń rí gbogbo ẹ̀.
nǹkan tún rè eléyìí èjì ogbè. eléyìí ni ojú ogbè ọ̀dọ́ bá mú ojú ogbè tó bá ti wò tó bá wẹ̀gbẹ́ ń bí tó bá fún wa sùúrù wò á rí i. So àwọn ìṣàkóso tó wá rèé o eléyìí ni igbó orúmọlẹ̀ onígbó orúmọlẹ̀ tẹ bá wò ó ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló máa rí ń bẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ohun ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ló máa rí bẹ̀ kẹrin ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ewé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ egbò ó ṣiríṣi àwọn ewé tẹ́ ẹ rí gbogbo ẹ̀ ló lórúkọ ní kọ̀ọ̀kan. pàápàá jùlọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n àwọn tó mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ mo ní ojúwo lórí ìlà lọ́ba fi ti Adéyínká Ọláìyá gbogbo àwọn iṣẹ́ mi lẹ́wọ̀n máa rí ń bẹ̀ ó ṣe ta kọ́ nìyẹn and Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀ yunifásitì láti kọ́ ohun tá a lè ń ṣe náà nìyẹn nínú iṣẹ́ tá à ń ṣe náà láti ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àṣà à ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa èdè àti ìwà pàápàá jùlọ nípa ìsìn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá a dẹ̀ ń kàwé a tún ń kọ̀wé náà lóríṣiríṣi láti lè gbé lárugẹ ibi táwa ń gbére ó ti dilé.
ẹ ṣe bàbá wa Ọláìyá ẹ má bínú ẹ jẹ́ sáré Kẹ́hìndé sí wọ́n ní outstanding ẹ ní dààmú Maria Eduada thank you very much ẹ ṣeun gbogbo ọwọ́ yín Costa Ronaldo Costa thank you very very much. Every one of you that you are joining us on this broadcast tonight. Before we step out of this program tonight, our time is fast spent. We have to call it a day from this program this hour to be another time that we are going to be bringing you a new edition of our program, GBANKOGBI. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ bá mọ̀ túmọ̀ GBANKOGBI, ẹ lọ wá dictionary Yorùbá. For those of you that you want to learn Yoruba, you want to know how to speak Yoruba fluently, call me on +277033584. We are here to teach you how to speak Yoruba fluently, that you will know it. Wàá mọ̀ tinú tẹ̀dọ̀ èdè Yorùbá, ẹ mọ̀ nú ẹ mọ̀ lóde, ẹ sọ bí ìgbà tó jẹ́ wípé wọ́n sọ lẹ̀ Yorùbá, ẹ pè wá sójú òpó +277033584. Òun náà lójú òpó tí ẹ mọ̀ pè wá sí, ẹ jájọ ṣe àjọṣe wa náà ní èdè Yorùbá ò ní kú. Ẹbí yìí ẹ jẹ́ fún yín láyè ká máa fèyàn kúrò lójú òpó ètò kekirayin teba ki
The sound is not good enough.
Baba Fabi.
Baba, if you can repeat the last part,
Can you hear
when
me?
you were talking, the sound was cutting a little bit.
Okay.
Your
What I'm
audio
saying is
didn't.
that I know, I understand that. I just want you to sign out as we are stepping out. I want you to tell people more a bit about what we have talking about rounding up, to wrap up the show. And at the same time, there is something we call praising in Yoruba. That is oriki. Oriki awon onile. Oriki ile. Oriki ebi. If you know any of it that you want to also praise yourself with, you can as well put that on the spotlight. And at the same time, Babawa, Professor MAVO, at the same time, sign by telling people more about you. If you know of the Oriki of the Idile, of Oriki of Ebi, or Oriki of Ile, or Oriki or any Oriki that you know, you also have opportunity to put it on the spotlight.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá, mo máa bá yín sọ oríkì ẹ̀là. Ọpẹ́ ní fún Ọlọ́run, ìgbà Olódùmarè ọba jíkí, mo jí lónìí, mo wó ogun mẹ́rin ayé. Ìgbà ẹ̀la ìwórì agbẹ́gilére la fi ẹ̀wù làdó, ẹni tí Olódùmarè kópa ọjọ́ ikú dà, ọmọ olúworí ogbó, ẹ̀là ọmọ òṣìn, ẹ̀là ọmọ igi ọ̀tá omi, àwọ̀ dí o igi akí okú mọ̀, ẹ̀là rọ akí okú mọ̀ òkìrìbìtì. Elaro sọ̀kalẹ̀ orúkọ Ifá Elaro ẹni tí ń gbà nílá àṣẹwò wọ́n ṣẹ́ bọ́ ẹlá fún mi kò tíná kò tóró bẹ́ẹ̀ ni onígbanilà nífẹ̀ẹ́ ọba àmọ́là ẹlà ọmọ òṣìn mo wárí o ẹlà méjì mo wárí o ẹlà mọ ìbọ̀rú ẹlà mọ ìbọyé ẹlà mọ ìyàbọ̀ ṣíṣẹ̀ ẹlà pókè Elaro ẹni èṣí sọ wà ṣòro ọdún kò wó wà ṣọ́dún. Iroko oko ọdún onísíkó ẹlà pókè ẹlárọ sọ̀kalẹ̀ ẹlárọ kó wà búrè sọ̀kalẹ̀ ẹlà takùn wáwó ẹlárọ o etí ìrèrè ẹlà takùn kó wà búrè ẹnu ìrèrè ẹlà takùn kó wà búrè ojú ìrèrè ẹlà takùn kó wà búrè ẹlà takùn kó wà búrè lamadawọ àjẹwárò ẹlàmàdẹsẹ àjẹwárò àti kan ṣíkún kí oníkéde yọ ìkéré. Ìpéǹpéjú ní ṣílẹ̀kùn fún ẹkún, àgádá ní ṣílẹ̀kùn fún ẹ̀jẹ̀. Ògùn dàsá, ìwọ ni ń ṣílẹ̀kùn fún ẹ̀jẹ̀ nídìílógún ìrúmọlẹ̀. Ẹ̀là panúmọ̀, ẹ̀là panúgbà. Ayọ̀ ilé ni àwọ̀ ẹ̀gbẹ́ ilé ẹ̀kọ́ lọ́rọ̀ gódò níyàwó mínilè. Èríwo lọ sọ́run kò dẹ́mọ́, oníkíákí sí ó dí àwọ̀ òdí, oníkíákí sí ẹ̀rọ àwọ̀ ẹ̀rọ, oníkíákí sí ẹgún òṣùṣù gbọ̀ngbà. Àkésí ẹ̀rọ àwọ̀ ẹ̀rọ, àkésí ẹgún òṣùṣù àbáyà gbọ̀ngbà. Ani eriwo lọ sọ́run kò dé mọ̀, wọ́n ní kí era lọ ìbálẹ̀, ẹ̀la ní òun korí bí tí òun yóò rọ̀ sí oníwájú òun eégún, ẹ̀yìn òun òṣùṣù agbédè méjì, òun eégún, òṣùṣù, àwọ̀ fàmájẹ́kí iwájú lágún mórí òun tó lù, Ọ̀rúnmìlà máa jẹ́ kí alágún mọ́ sí ọ̀rọ̀kàrí gbé, Ọ̀rúnmìlà máa jẹ́ kí agbédè méjì lágún òṣùṣù, ẹ̀lárọ̀ sọ̀kalẹ̀, Ifá kó jẹ́ kí iwájú rẹ̀ ṣe ọ̀dúndún mórí òun tó lù, ẹ̀lárọ̀ sọ̀kalẹ̀, Ifá kó jẹ́ kí ẹ̀yìn rẹ̀ ṣe wọ̀rọ̀wọ̀, ẹ̀lárọ̀ sọ̀kalẹ̀, ẹ̀lá níwájú odi ọ̀dúndún, ẹ̀lárọ̀ sọ̀kalẹ̀, ẹ̀lá ní ẹ̀yìn odi tẹ́tẹ́, ẹ̀lárọ̀, ẹ̀lá ní agbédè méjì odi ọ̀rọ̀wọ̀, ẹ̀lá mọ́ bíbí inú àgbọ́ni rẹ̀ dùn.
Ẹ bá ń fi rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ ṣeun, ẹ bá ń fi rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ o, ẹ bá ń fi rọ̀ sídìí àgbọn mèrègún, ẹ já fi rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ o, ẹ jẹ́ fún bàbá wa MAVO ní ìṣẹ́jú kan péré lẹ nítorí a gbọ́dọ̀ kúrò lórí ètò yìí láàrin ìṣẹ́jú kan. Bàbá wa MAVO, ẹ sáré fi ìṣẹ́jú kan, ẹ sáré fi dágbére kúrò lórí ètò yìí.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bàbá.
Mo fẹ́ sọ oríkì ọ̀sán yìí tí a ń pè ní àgẹ̀ nítorí pé ọmọbìnrin mi kejì jí gẹ́gẹ́ bí olórí ẹ̀sìn ìbílẹ̀ àwa inú mi dùn púpọ̀ inú mi ọgọ́ nítorí èyí mo fẹ́ sọ ọ̀rọ̀ ìpìlẹ̀ láti bọ̀ òrìṣà ọ̀sán ti di gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹlẹ́dà ọmọbìnrin mi mo fẹ́ di omi tú ọ̀nà tú pẹ́lẹ́ tú bóńgírí omi ọ̀yìnlẹ̀ omi kan ṣoṣo ní mo forí balẹ̀ mojúbà ọ̀yìnlẹ̀ mojúbà ọ̀sán yìí mo pẹ́ ó ọ̀sán yìí mo pẹ́ ó ọ̀sán yìí mo pẹ́ ó ipa àkọ́dá tó dá tiẹ̀ lórí ewé ipa àṣẹ̀dá títí ẹni lépè ń pẹ́ ipa àyà mi ọ̀ṣọ́rọ̀ ń apáni máa gùn ọlọ́jọ́ yín mojúbà olúwa yìí mojúbà ọmọdé mojúbà àgbà mojúbà ìgbà ìrúmọlẹ̀ ojú kò tún mojúbà ọ̀kànlélúgba ìrúmọlẹ̀ ojú kò sí abóyinrẹ̀gùn mojúbà Ọ̀rúnmìlà bàbá Ifá mojúbà obìnrin mojúbà ọkùnrin mojúbà ilé mojúbà ilẹ̀ Odùduwà mojúbà ẹlẹ́dàá mi mojúbà ọlọ́ọ̀rí mi mojúbà òrìṣà ọ̀nà mojúbà òrìṣà Ìgbò mojúbà òrìṣà Odò mojúbà òrìṣà Ọ̀ṣà mojúbà òrìṣà Ògún mojúbà òrìṣà Òkò mojúbà òrìṣà afẹ́fẹ́ mojúbà òrìṣà òfurufú mojúbà òrìṣà iná mojúbà òrìṣà onílẹ̀ mojúbà òrìṣà omi mojúbà òrìṣà ewé kí wà ìgbéde mẹ́sàn-án òru kí Ọlọ́run ìbáyìí ṣe
àṣẹ o bàbá àṣẹ bàbá kí bá yín ṣe o
àṣẹ ìbà fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí wò wá ní gbogbo àgbáláyé ajúbà kíbà ó ṣẹ gbogbo yín pátápátá tí gbọ́ ní gbogbo àgbáláyé ṣe rí pédè Yorùbá dùn ẹ̀yin náà gbọ́ pédè Yorùbá bọ́n ṣe ń lu àwọn oríkì ìṣẹ̀ǹbáyé tó ṣe fi ń kí àwọn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ká tó bá lọ kó lójú òpó ètò ẹ̀jẹ̀ kébì náà máa fẹ́ yóò dágbére fọlọ́wọ́n ọba àjọkẹ́ ayé ọba àṣàkẹ́ ọ̀run ọba tó lọ́jọ́ ọba tó dìbò ọba tó làkókò ọba ńlá ọba arúwà ọba sísùn ọba jíjẹ ọba lílọ ọba bíbọ̀ ọba tó lànà ọba tó lòní ọba tó lọ ọba tó dìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ọba tó lòpọ̀ ọba tó lo gbogbo nínú ohun gbogbo olùmọ̀ràn ọkàn aláṣìírí ayé aláṣìírí ọjọ́ ọba tó fi afẹ́fẹ́ tó fi ṣe agbèjẹ omi olóòlò pèpè tó la wòwò tó la rírí tó la kíkì tó ló mọ̀ ń tàjẹ́ ó lá mọ̀ ń tàjà olómọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ olómọ pé olómọ àná olómọ ní ọlọ́lọ́mọ ọlọ́nà lọ́lọ́mọ onímọ̀ olómọ wá olómọ wá olómọ àná olómọ ní olómọ la olómọ gbogbo nínú gbogbo olùmọ̀ràn ọkàn olópa olóńjí olólálé ńlá alágbára ńlá olólágbára tó ju gba alágbára lọ olóba agbára ayé pátápátá olóba tí dálẹ̀ olóba tó dọ́gun olóba tó dá omi olóba tó dànù olóba tó dóni olóba tó dọ́la tí ó ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́la olómọ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ìṣẹ́jú 5 sí àkókò tá a wà tí gbogbo ayé ò jẹ ó ńlá lápèpè tó ńlá wáwòwò tó ńlá lò títí tá àwò tán onímọ̀ ayé ò lè mọ̀dí rẹ̀ ọlọ́gbọ́n ayé ò lè mọ̀dí rẹ̀ ó gùn tí gbogbo gígùn lọ fẹ̀jọ lọ ó tóbi tóbi lọ ọlọ́run ọba ńlá ọba aládé ńlá ọba alágbára ńlá ó fọ̀run ṣe bùjókòó olólọ́run olólọ́run olólàláyé olódáwọn òkè olódáwọn ilẹ̀ olódáwọn ìgbàrúmọlẹ̀ tí ń bẹ láwọn òkè ńlá ayé olódáwọn gbogbo ohun tó ń bẹ lórí ilẹ̀ ayé orúkọ rẹ̀ ló pè wọ́n ló pè ọ́ lórúkọ ó wò wọ́n ó pè wọ́n lórúkọ ó ló fún wọn lórúkọ ó ló pè ọ́ tó pè ọ́ ní Yorùbá ọmọlúàbí ọmọ káàárọ̀ òjíire ó ló pè ọ́ tó wọ̀ ọ́ títí tó dá ọ sílé adúláwọ̀ ó ló wọ̀ ọ́ tó wọ̀ ọ́ títí tó ní pé kó máa jẹ́ èèyàn tí òjò jẹranko kò jó jẹ́ kòkòrò ó máa dúpẹ́ tiẹ̀ kó jẹ́ èèyàn kó lè sọ̀rọ̀ ó lójú oríran ó létí ó gbọ́ràn ó lọ́kàn tó lè fi ronú ẹranko ò lè ronú wọ́n lè ronú lọ́jọ́ ronú padà ìwọ ronú òun ronú lọ́wájú òun ronú padà ó láròjinlẹ̀ gbogbo àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí àwọn ẹ̀dá yòókù ò ní ṣùgbọ́n ìwọ ní àròjinlẹ̀ ò ní àwọn ẹ̀dá yòókù ò ní ọlọ́wọ́n elédùn àdúpẹ́ tó fún wa. bàbá wa láyé ká mo dúpẹ́ ètò yìí Gbáǹkọ́gbì lètò gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé ẹ máa ṣíà ẹ o ẹ sọ dorí kẹ ẹ máa kọ ẹ sọ dàgbò jẹ̀dí kẹ ẹ máa gbọ́n mu tó bá sì wù yẹn ẹ sọ di bọ́gà ẹ kọ́ méjèèjì lé lórí kẹ ẹ máa kó jẹ èdè bàbá èdè orímọ̀jẹ̀ èdè rèé lórí the African Portal nílùú Pretoria lórílẹ̀‐èdè South Africa orúkọ tèmi ò yí padà orúkọ mi náà ni Olúdáre Olúsanmọ olùṣọ́ àgùntàn Samuel Olúṣẹ́gun náà èmi lọ pápá dámọ́ntàn fọmọkùnrin bọ̀lẹ̀bọ̀lẹ̀ ọmọ sísí sùsọ káríbi kọ́lé sí ọmọ oníyẹ ọjọ́ kẹfà tí ń ṣe eruku lẹ́lẹ́tò ojú òrì tiẹ̀ jẹ́ láti ilé ìyá mi lògìrẹ́ pàbí ẹ̀kọ́ bàbá mi ò sí dé lájàsán ọmọrímolú sì lèmi ọmọ ají fọwọ́ rẹ̀ ṣe tẹ̀jẹ́ ọmọ ají fọwọ́ rẹ̀ ṣe tí ó jẹ ọlọ́run ọba ló gbé akalẹ̀ ọba ńlá ọba alágbè tán ọba aláwòwò tán ọba ńlá lójú ẹyẹ ọba àná ọba òní ọba ọ̀la ìlú Ìbàdàn náà ti Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé ìlú Ìbíkúnlé alákẹ̀rí ju ogun wọn lébọ̀ lẹ́yìn Ìjagunlábí àwájú lẹ́dú ọba mọ̀sá ọmọ ayàyàmọ́yà Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé ibẹ̀ náà ti bí lọ́mọ ní dààmú gbẹ̀yìn tí wò wá bí mo ṣe máa ń sọ ní gbogbo pé a máa fi ọ̀bẹ nú ni atẹ́lẹsẹ̀ a sì bẹ̀rẹ̀ wò ẹni bá dámọ́ bọ̀ nìkan là ní dé bá ń lé o a lọ padà wá lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la ìpàdé wa láàárọ̀ ọ̀la ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ètò ń bẹ ẹ máa gbáwò ètò lórí ètò yìí ẹ pàdé wa lọ́jọ́ ẹ pàdé Dáre náà lórí ètò lọ́la pẹ̀lú tí gbogbo ẹ̀ tí ó máa dún tí ó máa lẹ́tìkẹ́ tí ó máa rọ kẹ̀kẹ́ tí ó máa rọ kẹ́kẹ́kẹ́ tí ó máa là kókó tí ó máa là gbẹ̀gbẹ̀gbẹ̀ tí ó máa là gbúgbúrú lójú òpó ètò ẹ máa bá wa ṣètò ojú òní tí yín lù Ìbàdàn tí mo ti wá dáńfò ní ṣiṣẹ́ rẹ láì ní kọ́ńdọ́ tẹ́ bá dọ́mọ́ ń dọ́ kọ́ńdọ́ tó bá dún wájú dé báyìí ayọ̀ àtàlàáfíà kó mọ́ bá gbé lówe náà lùlù àgídí wọ́n sójú òkú ètò yìí adúpẹ́ pé òkú lọ́wọ́ yín ojú òní tì yín ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ ń bá wọ́n ròde ìbànújẹ́ òní wọlé ẹnì kọ̀ọ̀kan wa ẹ̀ ní ṣubú dànù ẹ̀ ní dàrúkà lágbára Èdùmàrè ojú yóò ní rí bí ojú tẹ́ fi wò ní fọ́ etí tẹ́ fi ń gbọ́ wò ní bí ọkàn tẹ́ fi ń ronú òní bàjẹ́ ayé yóò sì ní dojúrú ẹ̀ ní dàrúkà a ò ní kọrin a ó pàdé létí olùdé wa lórí bàbá wa Ifábíyì Àkànjí Olúṣẹ́gun mo dúpẹ́ pé mo pè yín ẹ wá sójú òkú ètò bàbá wa Professor MAVO adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín pé ẹ wá sójú ẹ ní dàrúkà lágbára ẹ pẹ́ fún wa lágbára Èdùmàrè àgbà yóò dalẹ̀ bàbá wa Adéyínká Ọláìyá ẹ ní ṣìṣe o gbogbo tẹ́ fi ń jẹyàn ní dàrú ẹ já mọ fi ṣe lọ á pàdé jọmíjọ ẹ jọ ẹ bá sọ fáwọn èèyàn ní gbogbo àgbáláyé pé ètò Gbáǹkọ́gbì ètò ọmọ Yorùbá ni o ibi a ti ń sọ Gbáǹkọ́gbì èdè Yorùbá ẹ ní dàrúkà o ẹ máa wo ètò yìí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wọlé pátápátá la dúpẹ́ pé òkú lọ́wọ́ yín ojú òní tì wá ìbàjẹ́ òní bá wa a bá gbogbo àwọn tí ń ṣọjọ́ òbí lónìí a bá wọn yọ̀ Sanmi ọjọ́ òbí akilẹ̀ ti gbogbo New York Sanmi Dairo akiyeku ayẹyẹ ọjọ́ òbí. Those of you join us, thank you very much for the pleasure of your time. I really appreciate it. I will see you again tomorrow. Join us tomorrow on our show Karakata by Asene, and at the same time join us on the show African Voice. Thank you very much as we are signing out of this. I appreciate keep sharing it, keep talking about it. Thanks to all our guests in the studio. Our leader, Professor, thank you very much. YORUBA, thank you very much. God bless you. I'll see you again. Thank you very much. Keep well and keep enjoying the day. Keep talking about it. It's Yoruba program. Please tell people to it's beautiful, lovely time. And thanks to everyone that Rashidi. God bless everyone of you. Thanks to Baba Buntu in Johannesburg. Thanks to everyone that have program. I really appreciate it. IRUMOLE bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àgbáláyé bòyín adúgbò èyí tí ń gbọ́ wa ní gbogbo àgbà ẹni ilẹ̀ ó ní ìbàjẹ́ òní bá yín nílẹ̀ níbi Ojúmọ́ Ire ti mọ́ wá akíyélé Ifẹ̀ ò dáyé níbi tí Ojúmọ́ Ire ti mọ́ wá akí bàbá Ọ̀jájá tán gbèdé ọ̀tẹ̀ tán lẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ pẹrẹgẹdẹ bàbá Júbà rí adé o akíyín lọ́ọ̀ pàṣẹkẹrẹ ọmọ Àtìbà akí bàbá orí adé ikú bàbá yèyé ọmọ ikú tí kò lè pa akíyín o bàbá ojú òní tìyín akíyín lè fẹ̀ náà lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ojú òní tìyín ẹdẹ mọ̀ lálọ́ ọjọ́ gbogbo dára bíi ègbè ojú gbogbo ìbàjẹ́ òní bá wa lágbára Èdùmàrè akíyín lọ́fà ọmọ lọ́fà mọ́jọ akíyín lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ arómisá akíyín ní gbogbo ìlú ká gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé pátápátá láti kíyín pé ẹ kú bó ṣe ń lọ lọ́dọ̀ yín o ní ìlà máa fi oníyan ṣe ọlọ́bẹ̀ ṣe ẹ̀yin tẹ́lẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ àìbínú ojú ọ̀ àríire lára àtàláfíà lámàríra wa ire ayọ̀ ẹdúpẹ́ ẹ pàdé wa lè tó ń bọ̀ láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà Gbáǹkọ́gbì ètò ní Gbáǹkọ́gbì ó dọjọ́ mi ò dọjọ́ rẹ̀ ẹ máa fọ́nrán yìí jẹ̀gbádùn títí a fi pàdé ní ọjọ́ mi ọjọ́ rẹ̀ ire ìbùkún elédùà kó máa bá yín gbé ẹ̀yin tó wọlé sójú òpó ètò ojú òmò dààmú ẹ ṣe lórí ètò ìpárá adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín òkun lórí bàbá òbé yìí kẹ́ ẹ máa fi jẹ̀gbádùn òpó ètò ẹjá wọ bàbá Ọ̀làndò ẹjá gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ bàbá Ọ̀làndò Ọ̀wọ̀ ẹjá lọ lú Ọ̀wọ̀ ká lọ gbọ́ láti ọ̀dọ̀ bàbá Ọ̀làndò ká máa forin ká máa fi dágbére kó lójú òpó ètò ire ayọ̀ àtàláfíà kọ́ ojú òní tiwa àní lágbára Èdùmàrè ire o ayọ̀ àlàáfíà ó dà. ọjọ́ mi ọdọjọ́ rẹ̀ ire o ire owó ire ọmọ ire àlàáfíà àìkú baálé ọ̀rọ̀ kó máa bá wa gbé ẹ máa jẹ̀gbádùn orin yìí títí ní ọjọ́ rẹ̀.
àṣẹ o bàbá àṣẹ o púpọ̀ rẹ̀.